Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
From the heart of where innovation, money, and power collide, in Silicon Valley and beyond, this is Bloomberg Technology with Emily Chang.
I'm Ed Ludlow in New York, in for Emily Chang. This is Bloomberg Technology. Coming up in the next hour, tech continues to tumble. The Nasdaq 100 falls for a fifth day, its worst streak since February, as angst among global central banks and a strong dollar grows. Plus, Amazon goes after deal-hungry shoppers as retailers brace for a lackluster holiday season. The e-commerce giant will hold a second Prime Day sale this October in the fight back against inflation. And is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's your delivery falling from the sky. We talked to Zipline about the drone startup's new sound technology, the latest play to win over regulators. We'll get to that in a moment, but first, let's get a look at the markets. Tech continued its slide as part of a broad market sell-off spurred by sharp moves in the pound and a march higher in Treasury yields. And despite some mega caps closing in the green, investors remain subdued in the face of global monetary policy tightening. Joining me in New York, who else but Bloomberg's Katie Greifeld. Monday, volatility, madness. Where was the pain?
It was an ugly day. Definitely a sell everything kind of market, but sort of the epicenter of all that pain was the bond market. Let's talk about the 10-year Treasury yield. Soared 24 basis points. It's dangerously close to a 4% handle. We haven't seen that since 2009. Of course, this is after UK gilts went crazy, after the pound hit another record low, but that bled right into the U.S. market and the U.S. bond market after the Bank of England didn't really do much to calm any sort of nerves. And of course, the ripple effect and, times of stress, correlations approach one. That's what happened today. Right. And it really took a whammy out of the stock market, too.
I think what's really interesting, we talk a lot about the Nasdaq 100 because we're here in the U.S. So much of global mega cap tech is on the Nasdaq 100. But this has been a really global week, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen the impact of the pound. We've seen the impact of push higher, not just in treasuries, but in gilts as well. And global tech has fallen, but the Nasdaq 100 has kind of outperformed a little relative to the rest of tech stocks. It
was a really interesting day, actually, because, of course, it did still close about 0.5% lower than Nasdaq 100, but you compare that to the S&P 500, which was down about 1%. It was an outperformance, and it was all thanks to that mega cap tech, like you mentioned. I mean, you had the likes of Amazon, Apple, Tesla managing to squeak out gains, and the sheer size of those companies, that's going to mask a lot of pain at the index level. Of course, those stocks have been falling for a while now, and that's been to the detriment of the index. But today it was actually a little bit of a help. Maybe people were saying, okay, yields are higher, the discount rate is higher, but we're talking about Amazon here now. Does it really matter?
We've done a poll, the MLive Pulse.
I heard about it.
And we ask a question, where does the Nasdaq 100 end the year? What's so astonishing is the strength of the response. You see it there on your screen. I think we're at around 11,000 level. The vast majority see us going lower to 10. A small section of professional retail investors see us going to 14,000. But it's really hard right now to call a bottom in tech stocks when those real yields continue to push higher.
Absolutely. But to that point, if you're a bull, you probably love to see something like this. The fact that you do have such a strong consensus that this is a bad environment for Tech, just to go into the numbers a little bit, both professional and retail traders thought that the NASDAQ 100 will hit 10,000 before it hits 14,000. At 11,000, that's about a 10% fall. So definitely the crowd would tell you that there's more tech pain to come. To your point, as real yields march higher, but we know that there's people going to try to catch that knife.
I'm looking at Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We've been trading around 19,000 US dollars per token, and between 19,000, 19,200, a kind of more narrow range than the volatility of recent sessions. What's the story with Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, it's really making a run for it. Up about 1%, I think, today. It had been up as much as 2%. That doesn't sound like much, but on a day where you have the S&P 500 down 1%, you do see Bitcoin and crypto broadly bucking the trend a little bit here. Typically, those two assets trade hand in hand. But I mean, at this point, there's been so much pain in the crypto space. Bitcoin, the largest coin out there, it's down over 50% year to date in this current bout of market volatility. I think a lot of leverage has been flushed out of that market, and the marginal seller is already gone.
What is Katie Greifeld looking for this week?
I am just trying to make it through weekend, but it's going to be really interesting to see what the bond market does here and the currency markets. To see a lot of the stress emanating from those two asset classes, you have to wonder how much pain there's left for stocks.
All right, that angst creeping into equities. Thank you to Bloomberg's Katie Greifeld. Now, Amazon's trying Prime Day again. The company is offering a 2-day early access sale on October 11th and 12th ahead of the holiday season. It's the first time it's done 2 Prime Day events in the same year. This as retailers across the world warn of a slowdown in holiday shopping. Here to discuss, Bloomberg's Spencer Soper. Spencer, what's the play here from Amazon?
Hey, why not? Try to slap Prime Day on it, try to get people excited, try to get a bunch of them to your site, sell as much stuff as you can. They've definitely got a lot of merchants dealing with an inventory glut, like a lot of other retailers. They want to move things quickly, and they want to try to get people's money before somebody else does. So we've got this kind of race going on of Christmas creeping earlier and earlier into the season.
Was this a surprise that they would add a second Prime Day, or did we know that it was in the works?
Not really. There were some reports about it happening. I think it was the precise day was really the only news, and that they're kind of rebranding it as Prime Early Access as opposed to calling it Prime Day 2, because Prime Day 2 just doesn't sound fresh enough or something.
You talked a little bit about inventories. I think a lot of the sellers on Amazon had to do this juggling act, right, of supply chain crunch, getting things in for last holiday season. A lot of that didn't turn up until the middle of this year. So what's the risk here for the sellers on the Amazon platform?
Well, the risk is that they don't sell it, so I think we're going to see prices drop a lot on consumer goods, on non-discretionary on discretionary purchases.
Right.
So, and then they're trying to align with consumer tastes. A lot of things people wanted the past couple of years during the pandemic, they just don't want anymore. So how do you entice somebody to buy that if they don't want it? You got to give them a great deal. So, that's going to be the danger there. And a lot of these merchants anticipating taking haircuts, and a lot of even retooling their product line to try to align better with what people are buying now.
What's the mood music been from Andy Jassy and Amazon about the state of the global consumer, about the economic pain that we're seeing around the world?
They haven't given a whole lot of guidance on it or said a whole lot. They're still just trying to, promote their business, be the place to go for deals, be the place to go for your holiday shopping, preach convenience, and just try to stand out. So basically, it's just going to be a dogfight for every consumer dollar, and they want to get everyone they can.
I remember the conversation you and I were having last year. I was in London at the time, but Black Friday, Cyber Monday. What does a second Prime Day event mean in terms of how consumers spend with those kind of other traditional holiday shopping periods?
Yeah, we don't know if they're kind of borrowing tomorrow's spending today. I think a lot of this is retailers just realizing that people are probably going to be coming up against the edges of their spending limits come the holiday season. You know, it's like people are leaning on their credit cards to pay for things like food and fuel. You know, it's how they've been dealing with inflation. So come holiday season, they might not have a lot of room even on their credit cards, let alone money to spend. So I think they're just trying to lock those sales in while people still have money.
Hey, Spencer, what are we hearing from the retailers themselves that have their small businesses on the Amazon platform?
I just that they're not expecting the best holiday. You know, again, they recognize there's an inventory glut. They know that they're competing against a lot of other sellers, so they're going to have to pay for advertising to stand out. Then they're going to have you know, good discounts to get buyers to compel buyers to buy. So they're not looking for a great holiday.
All right, Bloomberg's Spencer Soper, thank you very much. Coming up, Microsoft's valuation has dropped more than Apple's since the beginning of the year. Bloomberg Intelligence says this valuation trend could reverse, in part because the software maker is better positioned to survive a recession. We'll explore next. This is Bloomberg. Let's talk mega caps. Shares of Microsoft have dropped about 29% year to date, almost double the decline Apple has seen in its stock. But research from Bloomberg Intelligence finds if you get the microscope out, Microsoft is outperforming the iPhone maker on almost every single financial metric and might be better positioned to survive a recession. Joining us to discuss is the author of that research, Bloomberg Intelligence senior tech analyst Anurag Rana. Anurag, what is the thesis here?
So the thesis is very simple. When you look at the tech space, software's been killed quite a bit over the last 1 year, or I would say 9 months, because of rising rates, because it's one of the highest growth sectors. And, you know, we think Microsoft has been, punished unjustly compared to the likes of Apple, who has performed better in this time frame. And our thesis is, if you look at the growth profile of Microsoft, it's better than Apple. If you look at the margin profile, it's better than Apple. And finally, and most importantly, it is a lot less dependent or exposed to China than Apple is.
I think we have a Bloomberg terminal chart that shows us the 12-month price to earnings multiples on both Apple and Microsoft. Microsoft come down a little below Apple in recent trading sessions. Are investors just sort of more focused on Microsoft's near term, what it's doing right now, rather than what it could do?
See, I think in both cases, Microsoft has not disappointed anybody in the last, I would say, quarter. And in fact, if we go into next quarter also, you know, they haven't revised their guidance. Now, dollar is going to be an issue, so translation risk is there, and which we all know. But if you look at the constant currency growth, we see no reason why Microsoft cannot grow 12 to 15% in constant currency, at least for the next 2 quarters. And even if we hit a bad recession next year, you know, we still argue that it can grow north of 10% in constant currency. It has a very diverse portfolio of software products, from cloud to Office to Windows. And, you know, a mixture of all of this should allow them to grow north of 10%.
So let's zero into that idea of being recession-proof, or at least better positioned to weather a recession. You know, Microsoft and Apple do have different businesses. Why is Microsoft better positioned to weather a recession than Apple?
So we argue that enterprises are in a better position than consumers are. Now, in the case of Apple, you know, Apple consumers in most cases are rich people, and they will continue to buy Apple, the iPhones. But if you look at a year-over-year growth comparison, you know, Apple's consensus, if you just go by consensus for the next 3 years, it's high single digits. If you look at Microsoft, it's going to be in low double digits, at least for that time frame. So even without, you know, diving deep into that, they can surprise on the upside because of cloud or because of any other reason. And this is not even accounting for the Activision acquisition going through. Microsoft is better positioned because of its enterprise presence.
There's one key market that we're all zeroed in on right now, and that's China. Where does China fit into this idea that Microsoft may be better positioned right now in some sense relative to Apple?
So if you look at Apple, Apple is very exposed to the greater China region. It generates over 20% of its revenue there. But more importantly, from its supply chain, bulk of the phones are assembled in that market. Any disruptions globally because of, COVID reasons or any geopolitical tensions, Apple will have a hard time to fulfill the demand for its products. While when you look at Microsoft, it does depend on China for its expansion of its cloud data centers. But other than that, it does not generate that much revenue away from China, or for that matter, is exposed to it either from a supply chain a lot less than what Apple is.
We broke some news the other day here on Bloomberg Technology about Microsoft's confidence that this Activision deal gets done, and the market really seemed to be paying attention. What was your read on that?
I think this is going to be a very interesting acquisition for everybody in the tech land, because I think the general consensus is that the regulators are going to be very tough on Microsoft, and which is partially the reason you see a massive price gap. But I think every couple of months we will see if there are no major, I'd say, hang-ups from the regulators, you would see that price gap closing. In fact, our antitrust analyst thinks that the deal is going to go through because of the nature of the deal rather than, the size of Microsoft or the size of the deal.
Apple, fundamental strong, near-term risk. Why did you write that?
Yeah, I mean, the reason we say that is because if you look at Apple for right now, 43% of their revenue comes from both Europe and China. And those are two geographies or two regions that are facing economic slowdown right now. In fact, Europe, we think, things are probably going to get worse in the near term before they get better. The second thing we want to point out is that the iPhone 14 is not a needle mover for Apple, just because the hardware design is still old, and in most cases, in the base model, even the processor is a bit old. And like the next year's model is going to be a big shift. When you look at the Apple's installed base of, let's say, 800 million iPhone, and with the refresh cycle of about 3.67 million phones, 3.6 years, you're going to sell about 220 million phones. We don't see that needle changes this year as much.
All right, Anurag Rana crunching the numbers at Bloomberg Intelligence. Thank you very much. Sticking with Apple, the company's begun manufacturing its new iPhone 14 in India much sooner than expected. Production is weeks ahead of schedule after Foxconn found the process surprisingly smooth. Apple is expanding manufacturing as tensions in China, where most iPhones are made, escalate with the US. At the same time, India has been key to make the country into a viable competitor to China in technology and production capabilities. And Apple's aggressive push into audio, specifically wireless headphones, has been one of the company's most successful bets. Bloomberg's Max Chafkin explains the controversial strategy around the AirPods.
Good morning. For years, investors and fans of Apple have been waiting to see if the company's CEO, Tim Cook, can release a product to match the success of the iPhone. But Apple's next big thing might be in your pocket already. I'm talking about these little things, AirPods. Third-party estimates suggest Apple sold around 120 million pairs last year, taking in about $20 billion. And the reason for their success also gets to the heart of why Apple is so controversial. Partly it's a credit to the headphones themselves, but only partly. It's sort of easy to forget that when these were released, reviewers hated them. They didn't sound great, they got lost easily, they're not durable, they're environmentally questionable. But they had one thing going for them. They were easy to set up with the iPhone. This wasn't an accident. It was the culmination of Cook's strategy to transform the phone from a one-off product to an ecosystem of services like iCloud and accessories like the Apple Watch and AirPods. None of these extras really do much without the phone, and the phone doesn't work particularly well without them. Back in 2016, when Apple announced AirPods, the company also made everybody else's headphones worse by getting rid of the audio jack on the iPhone. To use normal headphones, you need an adapter. The company's VP of marketing said this was about one thing: courage. Which, okay, sure, but it was also about Apple's awesome market power. That makes the company controversial. Spotify, Epic Games, Tile, and even Google all say it abuses its power. But antitrust litigation will take years, and until then, Apple can extract ever more money out of its 15 years young cash cow, the iPhone. Who needs the next big thing?
Thanks to Max Chafkin for that. Coming up, remote working during the pandemic has left many New York offices empty. How the trend is part of a larger property dilemma in major cities across the world. This is Bloomberg. The rise of remote work during the pandemic has put New York City at the center of a global property dilemma where multi-billion-dollar buildings sit vacant, leaving property owners in a bind. Bloomberg's Natalie Wong has the details. Now, as you know, I'm visiting from San Francisco. If I take a stroll down 3rd Avenue, there's far fewer workers going through revolving doors than there were, say, 4 years ago when I was last here. What's the story?
Right, and you see a lot of vacant storefronts as well. As you well know, a lot of workers are just not coming into the office, and companies are reducing their real estate footprint because of that. And those that are looking to expand are simply just not looking at an office building on 3rd Avenue.
You know, we're all still using tools like Zoom and Teams, Microsoft Teams. You know, there's multiple options. But what are the landlords going to do to fix this, to get workers and companies back into the buildings themselves?
A lot of landlords all across the city are adding amenities. They're putting in hundreds of millions of dollars into their office building to add stuff like outdoor spaces, new lobbies, new elevators to entice new tenants. And then hopefully those tenants will get their workers to come back in as well, as we're slowly starting to see happen across the city.
It's a long-standing problem. Same in San Francisco. There's just not enough apartments at an affordable price point.
Right.
But there's a lot of empty buildings, you just told me. How do we convert? And why is it so hard to convert those office buildings into residential?
That's a question that everyone's asking. You know, the reality is a lot of the Midtown office buildings are so big and rectangular, and there's just so much dark spaces within those buildings that it's hard to convert into livable residential areas. And on top of that, there's zoning restrictions with the city that doesn't allow for these types of renovations to be made, and there's no tax or financial incentives that are provided to landlords to embark on this super costly renovation.
That's the building owner's perspective.
Yes.
What do the tenants want? You know, what are they asking for?
Tenants want the best and the newest places. They want to be near Grand Central Terminal. They want to be near their peers, you know, private equity finance firms, mega big tech firms that are expanding on the far west side of Manhattan. And they have a lot of options to choose from. So if they're going to choose between, you know, a 3rd Avenue 1950s building that has sort of been renovated, but not really, or look at Hudson Yards where there's new skyscrapers and landlords are providing incentives to get you to move in, they're going to choose the newer ones.
Right. This is part of our Bloomberg Big Take, of course. What was the thing that surprised you most reporting this out?
I think the thing that surprised me the most was really just how much this impacts everyone, not just landlords, but tenants, and also the city. You know, the city has lost a lot of tax revenue due to the decline in the values of these office buildings, and it doesn't look like it's going to turn around anytime soon.
All right. Thank you to Bloomberg's Natalie Wong. Coming up, Andreessen Horowitz calls him the Silicon Valley CEO's CEO. I'll chat about venture capital and investing in a downturn with Race Capital's Alfred Shuang. Plus, later, crypto is considered one of the riskiest, if not the riskiest asset class these days, but the currencies are among the top performers this quarter. This is Bloomberg. This is Bloomberg Technology. I'm Ed Ludlow in New York. Let's get back to that market volatility. Major benchmarks like the Nasdaq 100 continue to fluctuate as economic uncertainty and monetary policy changes spur concern. And that includes a hit to all corners of the technology universe, making this a tough environment for everyone, from mega caps to Silicon Valley startups. Let's bring in Race Capital general partner Alfred Huang. He's known as the Valley CEO's CEO. Alfred, what is your read on these markets right now?
Well, Ed, thank you for having me. At Race Capital, we are seed and earliest investor in infrastructure companies like Databricks, Solana, and FTX. So when I saw Race Capital's founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, in New York last week, we talked about how the crypto market was in much worse shape in 2019 as is compared to today when he first started FTX. So the growth stage and the late stage venture market may have been dampened, obviously by the recent market crash. But we are seeing early stage deals staying very strong, I think because of a few reasons. Number one, seed funding is not tied to revenue. Market slowdown has very little impact to early stage founders. So when we invest, we look for a founder market fit.
Right.
Right. So, and most seed stage companies raise 18 to 24 months out runway to find that fit itself. Number two, IPO is not the only route to exit anymore. I mean, we look at the recent Adobe Figma $20 billion mega deal. We can see the next 2 years is going to be very strong in making. So that's cyclical. And three, venture capital investors are sitting on $162 billion of cash for new investments. So these dry powders are driving energy to find the best founder and a lot of early stage deals.
So what you're seeing is not risk aversion like we see in the public markets, like we see in the later stages. Are you guys ready to spend? You're ready to deploy capital, or are you sitting on the sidelines?
No, we are definitely not sitting on the sideline. We've been extremely active in investing. In fact, if you look at the cycle, post year 2000, post 2008, the very best, breakout companies were invested soon after those crashes. Really good companies and strong founders, bubble up to the top, and then valuations are very rational. So you can make bets and be able to drive large ownership much easier. So this is definitely a good time.
You talked about valuations being rational. There's hundreds of startups out there, potentially more with unicorn status, right? billion-dollar valuations. What's the risk that we see those valuations come down, that there's a major repricing of startups of a certain size?
Well, this happens in every cycle. So the late stage deal obviously will be highly impacted by the equity market and where it's going, because that's where people thought the liquidity would be. But now we're also seeing, going back to the Figma deal at $20 billion in size.
Right.
That's as any IPO could possibly drive for, investors along the way. So I'm actually not concerned, because tech's always needed. And we're about to see one major revolution of going decentralization through Web3 of the type of application that will emerge in the next generation. So very good time indeed.
They call you the Silicon Valley CEO's CEO. You were an early investor in a lot of names we now know, right? FTX, Solana. You founded and took public BEA Systems, right? Give me the founder's perspective. How hard is it right now to be a fledgling startup or a founder with an idea to sit in front of an investor and come away with some cash in your pocket?
Well, without a doubt, raising money is not quite like last year. And founder has to be really on the game to be able to have a story about how they will be able to generate revenue. So thank goodness the word revenue and cash flow matters again. So which is a crucial thing of running real businesses. So, and the other thing is, run rate and costs and expenses, we're seeing a slew of layoffs, mostly not because those companies cannot afford those people, but they're rethinking how to get to profitability and cash flow positive. So those are things I think is good discipline that we should be seeing good CEO driving great companies that will last a long, long time.
There are some areas I know that you have a keen interest in, Web3 being one. We talk about that in such big abstract terms, what will big tech do when it comes to Web3? Will they do anything at all when it comes to Web3? Do you think investors are starting to lose a bit of patience there?
Well, Web3 is much more cyclical than the regular market. So if you look at the cycle of Web3, it's pacing at about 3 years because we saw the last crash in about 2019. We saw a crash in 2022. So if you look at regular cycles, about 8 to 10 years. Web3 cycle is about every 3 years. It's just showing the maturation of the technology is moving a lot faster than other cycles we have seen. Look at it. Like Amazon Web Services, AWS from Amazon, controls over 1/3 of Western world's internet infrastructure. Right? That really is unheard of. You have such, large concentrated control of the internet itself, and then you have the other two players, following them combined. They control almost all of the Western internet infrastructure itself. So decentralization of the internet is greatly needed. We have been frustrated with centralized social media control. So the only way to solve it is some of that have to be by technology. So this has to happen.
Hey, Alfred, before I let you go, let me draw on your experience. You've been through the tech bubble. You've been through economic ups and downs. How does what we're seeing now in the global economy compare to what you've seen before?
Well, there were scary at times. So in the 2000 bubble, we're all super early stage companies that were listed publicly and getting trashed, when they don't make earnings. And the market, have no escape because it's all publicly done. So when the rug got pulled under, it was over. In 2008, it was a financial crisis. We weren't even sure if our banking system was sound and was continuing to be continued. Now this is very different. I believe, obviously, we have major issue in the world. We have inflation. We have rapidly rising interest rate, which caused the market to be retreating to the level they are. And now a T-bill is generating 4%. We're in a whole different world. So I think from that perspective, investment has to change. But from a tech perspective, we're going to see insanely remarkable productive applications in the next few years out. It'll be better than anything we've ever experienced. This is going to be a great time ahead.
Race Capital General Partner Alfred Huang, thank you. Now, autonomous delivery drone startup Zipline has developed a new sound-based technology to help its aircraft better identify other airspace users. The company hopes the new tech will convince regulators to open up the skies for more drone-based deliveries. I took a trip to a Walmart in Northwest Arkansas where Zipline's trialing the tech and caught up with CEO Keller.
Is this about to become a more common sight? Zipline thinks so.
We're at the Up Summit, and the Up Summit is held in Bentonville, Arkansas. Let's talk about Zipline. What is Zipline?
Zipline is providing teleportation as a service to countries, to companies, and now directly to homes. We started with medical products. Today we deliver many different things to primary care facilities, hospitals, homes. Whatever people need quickly can be delivered via an autonomous aircraft. Zipline launched in Rwanda in 2016. Since then, the service has grown a lot. We actually initially launched just serving 21 hospitals. Today, we serve almost 3,000 hospitals across Rwanda, Ghana, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, and now the United States and Japan. We've delivered 1.5 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine, 5 million doses of traditional vaccine. We deliver 75% of the national blood supply of a couple countries at this point, fully autonomously, in a way that saves lives and saves countries money.
Talk to me how, in practice, that would actually work, loading the drone and going from there. Talk to me through the whole process.
Once the vehicle launches from the distribution center, it's flying completely autonomously, making all of its own decisions. It'll fly to the GPS coordinates, deliver the package, and we use a really simple, basically, parachute drop, which means that anybody can receive a delivery. You don't need any special infrastructure to receive a delivery. Then the vehicle comes home, lands, we can swap the battery, and have the plane back in the air 2 minutes later.
Zipline's latest gambit is taking on the US retail and e-commerce market.
Launching Zipline 963 in 3, 2, 1.
So when the Zipline drone shoots off the launcher, it's doing 0 to 60 miles an hour in 0.8 seconds. And the battery on the drone means that it could travel 200 nautical miles technically on paper, but they're limited to this 1.4 mile radius because the FAA have strict regulations on drones, right? This is what the whole story is about, using this technology in the real world. But this pilot in Pea Ridge, Northwest Arkansas, here at the Walmart store, if you live within that 1.4 mile radius, you can order your hamburger helper or your toothpaste or Q-tips or an orange, whatever you need, and they'll deliver it to your home.
To get regulators on board, Zipline's hoping a new sound-based technology will give other air users more confidence that skies full of drones are safe.
Explain to me the basics of the technology.
DAA stands for detect and avoid, and it's kind of a core problem for autonomy in United States airspace right now. When you have a really busy airspace, for autonomous vehicles, you must be able to guarantee a 2-mile all-clear hockey puck around the vehicles. There really is no good solution to that problem. We've tried using radar, we've tried using LiDAR, we've tried using cameras. Those systems are expensive, they're heavy, they're energy consumptive, and a lot of times they just plain don't work. Zipline is solving this problem using a microphone array. It's an extremely weird, practical approach to this problem, and one that we frankly thought was impossible 4 years ago as we started working on it. When you're flying through the air really fast, microphones are picking up a lot of ambient noise. You're also having to manage the noise of your own propellers, because the aircraft is making noise as it's flying, and you're listening for something that is somewhere within 2 miles of you. The amazing thing is that by using really intricate mechanical engineering design, different ways of designing this microphone array, and then combining that with like signal processing and neural nets that can listen to the sound that you're getting from the microphones, we can actually determine not only exactly where a vehicle is, but we can also determine the exact make and model of that aircraft. We think that this technology is going to have a big impact on autonomy in the airspace broadly, not just for Zipline.
Will this new tech take Zipline mainstream? Bloomberg NEF analysis suggests the use of drones would only be economical in highly specialized or niche situations like surveillance or mapping.
Is delivery in the retail context the biggest market opportunity for you?
There's a global transformation coming in logistics, and that is away from these big, heavy, slow gas combustion vehicles toward light, fast, electric, autonomous. It's really our mission. Our exclusive focus is just on approximating teleportation as a company.
Coming up, stocks, bonds, and commodities are all in the red since June, but cryptocurrencies are with the dollar as a top-performing asset this quarter. This is Bloomberg. As currencies around the world fluctuate, the sterling dropping to a record low against the dollar, there's widespread pessimism rocking markets. But cryptocurrencies during the quarter have performed, well, pretty well. What does this mean? Bloomberg's Sonali Basak, who else, is here to explain the relative performance. I see volatility everywhere. I see volatility in crypto. But if you dig a little deeper, there is some outperformance there.
It's really interesting to watch how the last couple of months have gone, because even though there are a lot of folks in the market that are worried that crypto will break again below that 17,500 mark, you still have the last quarter since the end of June crypto doing pretty well overall. So if you look at a specific index that we look at, and this is an index of 100 digital currencies tracked by Bloomberg, you're looking at the MVIS Crypto Compared Digital Assets 100 index. It has added almost 7% since then. That is pretty close to its second performer there, that is the dollar, at about 8%. The S&P 500 and gold even has fallen in that time. So you're not looking at, of course, all of those classic risk havens performing all that well here. Now, there's some interesting questions here about whether that will continue on. Of course, crypto has fallen pretty meaningfully this year. I don't want to make 3 months a trend, but it certainly is something that has not fallen below that lower bound that we saw earlier this year, and in the last 3 months at least has been a pretty strong performance.
Yeah, not a trend necessarily, but we are looking for sort of the direction of travel. Sam Bankman-Fried, somebody that you know well, has been tweeting. I think we can bring it up here. Boy, with the world thinking differently about crypto price moves, they measured, I think he means, they measured it versus world currency baskets instead of just the US dollar.
And I think that's a great point that he made, because of over the weekend, when you saw these massive fluctuations in currencies across the world, you had the crypto crowd stand up and say, what does this mean for cryptocurrencies? And if you work in or live in a country where assets, digital assets, can be less volatile than your actual currency, you have people, for example, in Argentina that have flocked to digital assets in a very meaningful way, even El Salvador, even with that volatility. Then what does the digital asset mean? It means a lot more than if you're living in a much more stable nation.
There are still some dissenting voices, some of them louder than others. I'm thinking, of course, of Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan. What did he have to say recently about Bitcoin in particular?
Yeah, so of course, if you're looking in the traditional finance world, TradeFi, you are looking at Bitcoin as a decentralized Ponzi scheme, is what Jamie Dimon told regulators and lawmakers last week. However, let's think about what crypto has done and what it looks like. I wanted to point this out just as an exercise here, Ed. We had tips, inflation-protected bonds up. Why does that matter here? In the sake of crypto, crypto has long been, pitched as an inflation hedge. And I want to say, for the people who even say that that as an inflation hedge has fallen apart, so has tips, which are inflation-protected bonds, which was a hedge fund favorite this year. So you do see both traditional finance and DeFi hitting a little bit of, a roadblock here in the narrative in terms of what crypto means for many people.
Hey, very quick, we just had the merge. What's the next kind of calendar event that the crypto world looks to?
Yeah, well, it's funny that you mentioned the merge, because Ethereum was a big part of that outperformance in that index in the last 3 months. But again, does that continue on, and to what extent does that filter into other assets? Do you see that same love in other proof-of-stake networks, things like Solana and the NFT world? As we know, there are a lot of interesting things happening when you look at the ape community, for example, and we've talked about it here, the Moonbirds as well. So again, the tangential assets to Ethereum we're looking at.
All right. Bloomberg's Sonali Basak, thank you. Coming up, a delay in depositions. Both Elon Musk and Twitter CEO Parag Agrawal pushed their pre-trial depositions before the October 17 buyout trial. We'll bring you the latest next. This is Bloomberg. We're 3 weeks away from a court showdown between Elon Musk and Twitter. Starting October 17th, a Delaware Chancery judge will decide whether the world's richest person has legitimate grounds to walk away from a deal to buy the social media platform for $44 billion. Monday was supposed to be a key moment in the lead up to the trial, but it didn't pan out that way. Joining us to discuss, Bloomberg's Kurt Wagner. So Kurt, Elon and Parag was supposed to be deposed Monday. It didn't happen. What happened?
Yeah, both Elon and Parag essentially are trying to reschedule their depositions here. Elon was scheduled to be deposed in Delaware. Parag Agrawal, the CEO of Twitter, was going to do so here in San Francisco. And in both cases, it seems like the timing isn't right. And we're told, or my understanding is that this is not super rare in a situation like this. But what makes it interesting, of course, Ed, is that we're 3 weeks away from this trial. The trial is 3 weeks from today, right? So there's only so many more days for them to push this thing before everyone has to sit down and share their side of the story.
I want to bring up this chart in my Bloomberg terminal, which I feel like I've looked at for years, but probably just months. And it shows the spread, right, of the current share price versus the $54.20 a share that Musk originally offered. And the idea is that, as the spread closes and the current share price gets closer to that offer price, the market's indicating that it thinks this deal will get done. Monday was weird. When we got the news that the depositions were delayed, the stock shot up and very quickly came back down again. There was speculation, it seems, in the market that we might be talking about settlement behind the scenes. It's not clear. What do you make of that?
Yeah, well, obviously, when two key players like this suddenly push their depositions, as you pointed out, you could see people jump to a conclusion here. Now, we have not heard anything about a settlement. And my guess would be that if there is a settlement, it'll come much closer to the trial because both sides want to figure out what information they can get from these depositions, right? I mean, they don't want to come to a settlement without uncovering every rock here. And so I think because there are so many people that they still have to talk to, it seems a little premature at this point. But as you point out, there are a lot of people who saw that news and probably thought, this is interesting. Why are these two people pushing their depositions? Maybe there's something happening behind the scenes.
Right, so the countdown's on, 3 weeks to go. What happens next?
Well, a lot more of this type of stuff, a lot more behind the scenes lawyer work, right? These teams for both Musk and Twitter are trying to position themselves, with the judge. There's going to be a hearing tomorrow to even find out, who can be deposed and who can't be. They're still fighting over stuff like that. So there's just a lot of jockeying for position at this point, right? And maybe there will be a settlement discussion at some point again as we get closer. But for now, I think both sides are just putting together their cases. They're kind of in that pre-trial preparation stage.
Hey, Kurt, you excited for our trip to Delaware?
I am ecstatic. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be a busy week, but it'll be fun.
All right, Bloomberg's Kurt Wagner. Thank you very much. I'll see you there. That does it for this edition of Bloomberg Technology Tuesday. We have ARK Invest Chief Futurist Brett Winton to share the latest on their investment strategy. Don't forget to check out our podcast. You can find it on the terminal as well as online on Apple, Spotify, and of course on iHeartRadio. This is Bloomberg.
Audio Jungle.
New life, but mostly pain. Don't know it all, but now I know love may cost everything. Still thinking, if I harm for him, I get him back.
Come on in this house.
Welcome back to the Nate Black Podcast. This is Big Boy the Boss, aka the money quarterback, making plays with the money. What up, bitch? What it do, everybody? No man's success never made me mad or envy them. What's up, Dante?
What's good, everybody? I just want to tell you, you got to judge a man by his principles. What's good, Jay Gant?
What up, you guys? What up? Man, we got a special guest in the building, rapper. Introduce yourself.
Dooley the Don, the real Don, man, coming straight out of Gloverville, South Carolina. You feel me? I want y'all to feel me. That's really
okay. Then
that's how I come. That's how I come. I come with my soul. Like that's how.
Straight like that. Tell the Gloverville, because we from the South Cac, man. Like maybe we ain't heard of Gloverville. Tell us where Gloverville at. Where's
Aiken County, like one long road. One turn. You feel me? One long
So
road.
what school you went to? What Gloverville school go to?
I say I went to Douglas. You feel me?
Douglas High?
It was elementary school. Stayed at my grandma's crib.
Okay, what high school they go to around Gloverville?
In Gloverville, you should go to Midland Valley.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
We know Midland Valley then, because that's the high school we played sometimes in football or whatever. So we know the area or whatever.
Spanked though, y'all was doing
You know we never lost to Midland. Never lost. We live our ball.
Everybody lose.
Never lost now. We made sure you better look us up now. Look us up. Hey, never lost to Midland Valley. We live our ball out there. Midland Valley got 0 loss.
Y'all ain't come around my generation, though.
Yeah, we 10 years older than you, actually. Man, it's in 22.
10 years older. You feel me? That's a little generation.
Yeah, like I was just telling you, man.
Y'all already got popped by.
That's true.
Right now.
He might be. He might
right now.
He might be right now.
I don't know.
He might be right. Nah.
I don't know.
Back in the day, nah.
Okay, you was okay, Mr. Swill.
We did what we did. Red record holder.
Oh, okay. Respect.
I brought value, man. I brought value.
Brought value. Hey, bring
value.
Respect.
Got you a shirt. You got to rock it for.
Okay, for sure.
Got to post us like
That's what I do. I feel like if I'm in a situation, you feel like I bring value too.
Exactly. You bringing us value today. Great like that.
I respect it.
Yeah. Really pulled up and everything. Like, we really appreciate that for real, though.
Yeah, it's love.
Because, like...
I appreciate y'all for having me, because, you know...
Yeah, like I said, we appreciate you coming on this platform, because, like, we ain't the biggest. Like I said, you don't be on even bigger platform, talk to even bigger people or whatever, but, like, how you respecting them, how, like, that's why we can't set up respecting your time. Like, we just appreciate you coming on. Like, so tell us, like I said, you say you got soul or whatever. You've been doing music since 7 years old. Like I say, your music, to me, I like it, man. It's like, I feel it. When I feel it, I can just vibe to it. That's the kind of music I like. So tell us, about your music.
You feel me? Like, all right, the start of this, like, you feel me? I used to just write R&B. You feel me? I'm smooth with baby. I want to hallelujah girl.
Smart.
But so much pain, so much anger.
Yeah.
Like, life. Yeah. As a whole, you feel me? Like, and I always had the soul, you feel me? Mama had me in the church, boy. That wasn't too much.
He record.
You good? Oh, okay, respect. All right. But I always just feel me like just gravitated to music, like anything. Like I can listen to country, you feel me? Like I can listen to some rock. You feel me? I don't like the heavy metal, like that's too much.
Too much.
But you feel me? Like okay, that's loud. But you feel me? But I can listen to music. You feel me? Like and I just love it. You feel me? So I just always stayed on it in school writing music. Yeah. You feel me? Whole time. I got books now.
Of music. Yeah. Unwritten music.
Yeah, because he said you was a poet. Because I do like I think it was so professional.
Call me a poet. Like that's what I do.
Like being a poet. I think I'm a poet too in my head because I'm a quotable machine. I'm a quotable guy.
Okay. Yeah.
We used to be rappers, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Dread Squad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But tell us about art watches, because I'm gonna tell you. Because you say your biggest song was "Blessings" from the "Blessing" song.
Yeah,
I saw that video on Worst Off Fire video. Like I said,
appreciate
I was like,
man.
man, this man is from something like it looked so professional. Like it just looked like, it's like it's another level. It's a levels to this shit, man. Like you was there. But my favorite was art watches, because like I just felt you like art watches. Like when you like that's how the second part of the song, how like build up and stuff. It's like it just makes you want to.
Yeah, I wrote that. I wrote that at my cousin's crib. You feel me?
Yeah. So
my phone had died. So look, I'm like, y'all ain't got no paper in here with they kids. They got babies. You feel me? So like, no, we ain't got no paper in. I'm like, I gotta write something. So I get you a pen, rip off a little piece of the baby box.
Just right there.
I wrote the whole watches right there.
So you just felt that? Like,
man, felt that.
Damn, that's so dope.
Mm-hmm.
So, matter of fact, I'm gonna slide to your left a little bit. So you can get all the way to them. Like I want people to hear this, man, because like I say, I'm so appreciative you come on, so I don't want nothing messed up, none of that stuff.
That's respect. That's respect. I'm in there.
Cause like I say, with you been there, cause like, that's a video I watch also, and then like the first thing I see like Big Trey, and like how did that link up?
Big Trey. I was going to his studio first, like you feel me, like I like Trey's studio, like Trey a bomb engineer, he gonna cook it, like he gonna sit right there, you feel me, and cook it. Yeah. You feel me, like if he love the music. If you got two people that love the same, you feel me, it's gonna
it's gonna click.
It's gonna click.
That's how it's gonna happen.
It's gonna click. That's how it's gonna just be. You feel me? So he love the music, I love the music, you feel me? And I went there, recorded there. My pops take me to the studio. You feel me?
That's so dope. That's your pops.
Yeah. My pops be riding with me to the studio. I'm in there.
Cause you know he always gonna support though, but I say watching like because Big Trey from he from our area or whatever, so like he like the vision. Like I told him this on the podcast for around our neighborhood. Yeah. He the vision of that. He do all the videos. So like if you go to his page, a lot of those artists that you see from our area, like we know them personally or whatever. So like shout out to Big Trey. Like we always
gotta shout out Big Trey. Gotta shout out Big Trey.
So but I see like you got an album coming or whatever. Why haven't it been an album since 421 Blues?
I'm working.
So you even feel like you want to get nothing out there.
I always feel like I want to get something out there.
So you really like put like albums out instead of like singles?
No, I love the singles too at the same time. But you feel
like
me?
A timing thing.
Yeah. You want to get with the season. Yeah. You feel me? You always want to go with the season. So
like okay, you a big vibe person.
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
Like, I gotta feel it.
Gotta feel what's going on in the scenery.
I gotta feel it. I got this for them. You feel me? Because that's who I do it for.
Yeah. So with the blessing from the Skeezers, what that
mean? We call our both Skip. Long live him. You feel me? We call him Skeezers. He call himself like the light skinned Jesus. You feel me? Skeezers.
Okay, the light skinned Jesus.
You feel me? Okay. Yeah, that's him. That's gang.
R.P. then. So we're talking about a partner, lost partner.
Long live gang.
Matter of fact, talking about that or whatever, because I had this question for you. Do you think rap is a dangerous job, or you think just the culture around it is dangerous?
You gotta understand, life is the most dangerous game.
Definitely.
You feel me? Like,
you hit that on the nail.
It's people out here that want to do anything. You feel me? Like,
for no reason.
They want. Somebody want to be the strongest.
Life is so cheap. I feel, man. Like people like I say, do something for $200. Like make $200 and get it. Rest of their life gone.
Yeah, they don't, man.
25 years.
Nothing don't matter.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that? Because like I say, you trying.
It matters to me.
You about to. I say you
I'm protecting mine.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you sitting in that seat. So at the same time, you gonna get. I want you to be the biggest rapper in South Carolina. You gave us support. I want you to be that person. So
I will be.
At that moment,
I will be great.
You will be that person.
You believe, receive it.
Damn right.
That's love.
Yeah, definitely. But like, so when you get to that place though, it's like people just hate because you worked your ass off to get there though.
People just hate. Because
so like
something ain't right with they self.
Would you move away? Stay around.
Yeah, you got. Come on, man. You gotta be smart. I always been a smart guy. You feel me?
That's why I say.
In a situation, I'm gonna come back and build this bitch up though.
Yeah.
Gloverville gonna be hot.
Yeah.
You feel me? Gloverville gonna be hot. You feel me? Make one of my boys the mayor. You feel me?
Team. For real,
real.
I'm running the stuff from behind the scenes.
You feel me?
Yeah. That's for real though. I want to do the same thing with my home city, man. Like I say, that's why we doing this. We all doing our art to take it to another level so we can give back to the people we that gave to us.
You feel me?
That's
Gotta
all we're trying to do.
So first off, when you start like catching like steam, like your followers start growing.
Followers started growing. 2019, three years ago.
Okay.
Feel me? Started love.
So how did it feel like you start putting out like posts or putting out songs and people actually like paying attention to it?
Yeah, that's all. It's the motivation. You feel me? Like cause you can have people that's gonna text you. You feel me? Like, bro, you. And I try to. You feel me? Text everybody back. You feel me? Sometimes. You feel me? It get piled up. You feel me? And I don't want them text back a year-old message, but sometimes I do. You brought some motivation.
That's a good problem to have.
Like, damn, I forgot. Damn, I ain't never popped that.
I never seen it because the message requests be so many and then so many more, and you got all these spams. You feel me?
So people send you DMs all the time. I don't like it. IG.
A lot. Yeah. People be texting me. Yeah, I try to get back to them.
So tell me this: how did it feel? And when was it when you got your first show that somebody was like, "I want to pay you to perform a song you created"?
When that was,
you good?
My bad. It felt, you feel me? This great. You feel me? Like, cause now I can really do it.
Yeah,
you feel me? Like I know I can do it. Like you just get it. You get it. Like I can do this. Like you see, I can do this. That's him.
That's my purpose. That's my passion.
That's me. You feel me? Once you can let your passion breed benefits, you feel me? It just go up. You feel me? Like, and it just make you go harder for what you got going on for them.
Yeah.
For them, always. You
Tell
feel
me
So
about
it
it. As long as that one person affected about what you do, you feel great.
I feel great. It can be one person. You feel me? I don't perform places. You feel me? 35 people, and I can look. You feel me?
But they rapping your shit
though.
They rapping it.
They ain't gotta be rapping it. They gravitating. They looking at me.
Yeah.
I just want them to pay attention, to focus.
Yeah.
Just listen.
Listen. Open ears.
Listen. That's all
Somebody
I want
gonna
them to
feel
do. Somebody gonna feel it.
I know.
That's it. And I just when that happened, it just make me, you feel me, go harder.
Damn right.
Go harder.
Cause it's just more motivation. Like I used to like we had a guy that went to NFL from my hometown or whatever. And like when his senior year, we was like, man, let us get some catches. But cause like he was trying to get to a bigger bowl, to get more notoriety, and I didn't understand it then. But now I understand, like once you get to a place, you just want to get a little bit higher. Like okay, you got somebody. So people notice you now and stuff, but like, you still ain't quote unquote. I want the hottest song. I want everybody knows.
I want more.
You can't never get higher.
No.
You gotta go higher. You feel me? You gotta go higher. There's nowhere else to go. There's nowhere else to go.
Definitely gotta take it to another level.
Yeah, just everywhere you got another level.
So what SC artist that you pay attention to that you feel like done took it to a level that you trying to get to?
SC artist that took it to a level. You feel me? You got guys like Black Zach.
Okay.
You feel me? PG Raw. You got Rennie Rucci. You feel me? Like you gotta respect. You gotta respect them. Like it ain't no way you can hate somebody for doing better.
They doing
they doing it. They there. I love to see it.
You feel me? Like why the?
We can't. You're the youngin' though, cause like I think about Lil Rude boy, Lil Rude.
Oh yeah, Lil Rude.
Nasty song.
He the one. He the one.
He really was though. He was
hot.
But for real, so that those the people you look at. Speaker knockers. I ain't really
started listening to Speaker knockers
until he had died.
Nah, my brother Red put me on him. Like
I'm about to say, I'm listening to
you feel me? Like
but
he was
I fuck with his music.
Damn, he was
Finance Father.
Yeah,
I love that.
Definitely gone too soon. Definitely gone too soon.
Yeah. But think about it. I say I feel like I'm sitting here with one of those people though, and I feel so amazing inside. That's what I love talking to different people.
Thank you, bro.
Like when people, I just love when people pull up because I feel like, damn, he gave me some time to ask him questions.
Go talk to us. Come chop it up with us.
I feel like I'm sitting here with somebody like I'm so ready to hear your album or whatever. Like so. What you think you need to do more to get more people to see you or whatever, to know you?
Feel me is they want to see you, so you feel me? You want to go, you want to talk to the people. You feel me? Like that's so I'm trying to get more into that. You feel me? So I appreciate Ja for talking to me because I'm trying to get more into. You feel me?
You sound dope. I like your
people. You feel me? I'm trying to get more into doing that. And you feel me? They definitely want to see some visuals. They definitely want to see some visuals. They want to see you where your mind. You feel me? And I want to put more into my videos. You feel me? Like for the next coming album, I want to put more into the videos. You feel me? Like that's another.
I would love to see you in the studio, like with how your writing process is, and like how if you in there with your homeboy or you just in there by yourself and like just cooking up a beat and you just like you say you write it down on your phone, break it off. I want to see
I write
that.
in my. You feel me? Yeah,
like,
I write in my phone.
Make a little vlog. already got
You be
content.
on Triller though. I
Say
see
less.
that.
Yeah, I fuck with Triller.
Yeah.
I fuck with Triller. I try to put them out there. But yeah, say less. The vlog.
Cause like you don't
alright.
grow your following to like 42,000
Yeah,
followers on
yeah.
Instagram. Like
Yeah,
I would
that's hard.
love to have that.
How
So,
that-
I always ask
I was about to
questions
say
like, how to
that.
do that.
Yeah.
Like you did it. Like that's why we ask questions like how
No
to do
cap.
that.
Bet. Yeah.
Like how you
Well,
put
it-
out content.
All right, so my manager really, she put a lot of, you feel me, like, we gotta be here, we gotta be here, and I always respect her for that.
Yeah.
You feel me? You gotta respect somebody that wants you to do the best you can do. Some
Exactly.
shit. So I gotta respect her for that. You feel me? So when she say post something,
Yeah.
when she say be here, you feel me? Spin that
You
block,
there.
spin
Yeah,
that
I'm
block, spin that block. It's sometimes you get hard headed. You feel me? But spin that block. Spin that block.
Damn, I think
You never
your
know. You
man
never
is
know.
Hakima, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hakeem.
I know. I talked to Hakima
dream.
before.
Yeah.
She gonna come one day.
Yeah. Y'all get her back in.
But shout out to she. So she you was talking to Hakima.
Yeah,
so
I was
shout out to her
talking
for
to
getting
her.
you
Yeah.
on. So
Okay,
shout out to you,
yeah.
Hakima. We appreciate you.
She make it happen.
That was like the text we got or whatever, what you sent us the overview or whatever, it was so professional or whatever. It's like giving us an overview of your life or whatever. Because like it's all questions I wanted to know, but now it's giving me the angle to ask them in a different way or whatever.
I feel that. Yeah,
Like, you know,
yeah.
because
She called me before I come up.
that's so dope or whatever. Cause
Yeah,
like that's all we say. Like, cause like you can just come here and sit down. Cause you got somebody that set everything up for you. Like, well, that's
what we
this
want.
process.
Yeah.
This we do all this. We said,
I
but
know.
shout out to Dante for making this happen. Cause that take such a big load off of our back. Because like I say, all of this happens because we have to be here to make it happen.
You gotta
And like
be
I say,
there.
just
You
with
gotta be there to make it
Yeah,
happen, though.
be there.
You
Be
feel
there.
me? Be there. That's one
like
too.
that hot song that you coming up with, cooking up with, it don't just come by just coming once a week. You got to be in there.
Yeah.
It might be 3 o'clock in the morning where you just come at. It might just be then when your hottest song ever come.
You feel me?
Yes,
never
it just
know.
might because so you just gotta be there.
Yeah.
Like I saying, like you say, you turn to a profession when you sign to them. You like, I'm professional now. Like you say, you have been
it's-
professional.
you
got signed
but
up.
like,
Yeah, I'm still growing now. You feel me? Like, and she helping me to grow.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So
That's love.
Cause like
hell
you
yeah.
shout out to her.
young, like 22, like you got
22.
so much
Yeah,
time in
yeah.
front of you, and time is like the most useful
That's-
thing you can
that's-
have.
that's all you got.
It is.
Yeah.
That's
That's
all we got. Yeah, that's all you got.
That's
this
all you
world.
got.
Like
if you playing the game right though.
No, Warren Buffett would give all his money away to be your age.
But what
right
I'm
now.
saying, some people make bad decisions where their life is cut short.
Yeah.
Where they
Oh,
yeah.
go
into the penitentiary where their life is cut short. So it's like
I
I say,
watched the
decision
documentary
making.
about Rollo. You remember the rapper Rollo?
Rollo, yeah.
Yeah, like and he literally was living where he was rapping, and you can't do that because then the feds gonna start looking at you and they gonna start paying attention to you, and they gonna catch you. You just can't hide long. You feel me? You gonna get caught. He got 8 years for like trafficking like weed or whatever, but it's like he was building
a big following or whatever that can take his, like I said, he already took his fame out the ghetto or whatever. Like just like the things you can do with that time that you give up, it's like, man, you can just do
5
so
years.
much extra stuff. Cause like I say, life is so cheap to people. Whatever, like you can give up $200, $500 for 68 years. Like I say, people we know people. We have people on this podcast. Like there's a guy serving 30 years right now for a decision he made. And like I say, he wasn't even like quote unquote the person that did the deed. But like I say,
he just was with him.
He just was with him. Like so, it's like it's just sad situation that life brings you or whatever. But like I say, make the right decisions, man. 22, man. So what's the ladies like for a hot rapper out here, man? Like in the state.
I got 2 ladies at home.
I know you just had a baby girl, but we're talking about that. You got 2 ladies?
That's what I'm talking about.
You Lou Will?
No, the mama and the baby.
Yes, sir. Play the game smart. Yeah, I know, like that. Play the game smart, my boy. I like that because I have. So that's so you feel like that's the one you want to take with you.
Yeah.
We go.
What y'all think about marriage?
I feel like you already had a kid, and the best thing you can do is try to like be with the woman you with. You know, learn how to be a better partner. Just learn how to be a better you, so you can be a better you for her and the kid, and grow like that. Because once you ain't in that, it's all hell out here.
We talking to 3 guys that are
co-parenting right now, so
Yeah.
they're not with
Yeah.
their baby mom.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a different scenario when
Yeah.
you have to deal with someone from the outside instead of the inside.
She make it easy, we make it easy.
Exactly.
That's
That's what I'm
what's
saying.
up.
You
That's
gotta
what's
keep
up.
it there. But you're 22 right now, so like you gotta continue to work on that. Like don't think you're just perfect now.
Yeah.
Like,
You always gotta work. Never get me wrong.
Yeah.
You always gotta work.
Never
That's
get
good.
complacent.
Never.
Relationship definitely
Feel
not
me?
rap. You know, the
Definitely.
styles always changing. Like
Everything.
I can say, like the algorithm always changing. Like we had a dude talking last week on the podcast. Like reels really popular right now.
So you
Oh,
gotta,
yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
get with it. Every
Yeah.
time you see it, you gotta get with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Go on.
I need to
You
get
feel me?
better
Go
with
on.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Get better with that. So
And like
any-
the young people like you know all this, and like I was around like a lot of high schools yesterday, like taking pictures because we also do photos and shit like that. So
Okay,
like
yeah.
I'm listening to them talk, and they talking about a lot of like hot stuff that we don't even know about. You know,
Yeah,
But the
like-
stuff we need to know about
Feel
because they gonna be the ones that gonna
you
check
feel
us
me? You
out.
can
and-
learn. You can learn every day.
Yeah,
Learn feel me? So
everything.
keep learning. Keep
Like
learning.
it's so much IG stuff I don't know. Like we just learned how to put the words on the videos.
Oh,
we just learned that last week.
Put the captions up there. Hold on. Y'all just learned. I knew how to do that.
Just like, we got taught this last week by two fair Darren.
Yeah.
Appreciate you or whatever.
Yeah, you feel me? That you feel me?
But listen to this
Appreciate him.
quote though. I'm a quotable guy.
Bet.
Learners are leaders, like you're saying about learning.
Learning.
Learners are leaders.
Yeah.
So just always like if people say that you don't want to be smart and all that stuff. Man, the best leaders are the smartest people out
You
you.
feel me?
Yeah.
You can always elevate. You
Always,
feel me? So
yeah.
why not?
Oh, God,
You
is
feel me?
it-
You can elevate your mind. You feel me? Your body. You feel me? If you want to be the most toned out here,
Yeah.
you can be that. You want to be the smartest, you can always
be that.
learn something, read
read,
something.
yeah.
You feel me? You can,
But all that starts with discipline.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of people don't
Yeah,
have.
you gotta have that.
You don't have discipline because like I say you can learn that stuff, but like me personally, I'm gonna say I'm a bad person with discipline with going to the gym because like I say I want to get bigger and just be cut because I'm 32. I feel like shit 8 years from now I'm 40. I ain't gonna be able to get in the best shape. Yeah, I'm trying to be in my prime.
You still be able to.
Yeah. So
You
I need
still
to
be
go
able
hard
to.
now.
Gotta eat right.
But
Yeah,
okay,
you still
But
be
it
able
start,
to.
but they always start now.
Exactly.
Oh,
It
yeah.
start now. It
Yeah.
don't start like I say. The best time was start was probably 10 years ago, and the second chance, the second best was now. So I'm gonna start now.
The best day to start was yesterday.
Yes, I guess. But I need to start. But like
Put
I'm
the
saying, just
candy
something
down,
saying,
man.
just
Yeah, put the
elevate.
candy
Put
down.
the candy down, do
Put
some
the
push-ups.
candy down,
Right,
do
it's
some push-ups, sit
definitely.
up.
But who was the artist you looked up to? Like just like not even SC artist, just artist that you looked up to in your age range coming up.
Okay, my age range. Nah, I'm broad. You feel me? So
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Okay.
You feel
Okay,
me? Like, I
then.
told you like R&B, like
Yeah.
pop.
Yeah, you said
Michael
that. You
Jackson
did
is
say
the
that.
one.
Yeah,
Michael
definitely.
Jackson is the one.
The
Definitely.
one
Like,
moonwalking and all.
Remember all the
I can
time.
do it. I can do it.
Hey,
Everything.
Hey, I got a video. I'm a true moon.
Moon. You feel me? Like I'm a moon walker now.
I over here.
This man just what he can do everything.
You want to put it up?
I'm cradle walking now.
Walk the dog.
Put it
I'm
up.
cradle walking now.
Paint your
Come on.
Cradle
paint your
walk.
back
Yeah,
porch.
What's a
cradle
cradle
walking. Yeah, what's on the moon?
I think I know what the cradle walking. I could vision that. It's like R&B, like that's your flavor. Like
Yeah,
Usher.
for
Do you
sure.
watch what's that what you be watching?
The Tiny Desk concert.
Tiny
Tiny
Desk,
Desk
like with
concert.
Usher and like
Seagull, the Isley Brothers.
Oh, you will love that. I think you, like I said, your vibe. I can just feel your
Yeah,
energy.
I'm on-
Like
get
you will
into
love
it.
because like it's like
live
music, live band.
Yeah, they doing their
okay.
songs live.
Yeah, they doing their songs
You see
live.
what Usher was
like,
like?
live instruments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's so dope, dog. All
Yeah,
you gotta listen to. My favorite one really is Kurt Franklin. It's gospel
Yeah.
music, but like
Yeah,
it's the most.
I get
epic
into
stuff
some of that Kurt
ever.
Franklin too.
It's
Like
so it's so cool how it come on, just how professional he is. Cause like I love being. I try to be the best professional I could be or whatever. Cause I'll watch it was a versus battle against Ludacris and Nelly. And like that versus showed me how professional Ludacris was. Like, cause like Nelly internet was messing up and all that stuff. He just kept it so professional. He kept me watching. I was like, man, this is cause like Teddy Riley had that one. He was messing.
Yeah.
I just really love when somebody can carry something because like
It's
like
hard to carry
Charlamagne,
something by
it's
yourself.
hard. It's really hard to keep people tuned in to something that, like I say, you just coming out your head with it. Cause like I look at this back sometimes, like cause like I'm looking at this from this angle, but when people look at it back, they gonna see that angle or whatever. So it's like I can think about stuff like I should have did better or whatever. So you gonna say, you feel me? But like, it's tight. I'm so happy you here though, cause like we just vibing or whatever. I just feel like just building this, man. It's so
it always like you already knew each other or something like that. Like
You feel me?
like literally the first time I meet you.
It's something genuine.
Literally.
You feel me? Like, it's always a vibe with genuine people. Feel
Exactly,
I like
man.
to feel myself. I feel myself with that. You feel me? Like,
yeah, I feel that, man.
Gotta be
Because like just you pulling up, like okay. Cause I always know people gonna be comfortable when they come in here because like it just hours or whatever. So like it ain't like you can't do this, you can't do that. You can be yourself here, man. Be comfortable. Yeah. And we got to do the done sitting in the chair.
Straight
up.
Come on.
Well, you didn't even tell what rap you said. Michael Jackson.
Okay, yeah, Michael Jackson. You feel me? The rappers. What kind of rappers? You feel me? You got Future.
Yeah.
You got Future. You got your Plies. You feel me? I done your Plies. You feel me? Got rich kids. You feel me?
Rich Kid, you talk about Rich Kid, that's crazy because my favorite group of all time is Travis Porter.
Travis Porter, yeah. You got Travis Porter?
And I can listen all the albums word for word.
We filled the PlayStation 3 up with them things.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, we could have took that. Yeah, nah. We had
like that. We was the same way.
Hey, we had anything you need on the PS3. We had that filled up.
For real.
We had that
Yo, my
filled
God.
up.
So you like, okay, that's your lane or whatever. I'm saying that's why we vibe like that because these the same kind of people I like or whatever. But I love Plies or whatever. But my favorite rapper, Lil Wayne. You see the dread.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Come on. It's Weezy F baby and what the F for? Whatever he want.
Whatever you want.
Whatever he want. I'm telling you.
Phenomenal.
Have it.
It's all the PH.
So what your album will be like though? What story you trying to tell us on this album?
I want to get some vibes on there. So I want to get a little bit of this. Come on. I want to get
switch it up.
You feel me? I want to come with all that. You feel me? R&B. I want to. You feel me? You always want to wait. I want to always wait till February to put some R&B out. So you feel me?
The seasons.
So I'm gonna just put that out there. But right here, I'm gonna try to put them vibes on there. Okay. I really want everybody to. If you listen to music, I want you to listen to me.
Hey, I could hear it. I could like I heard a couple of your songs already, but I could hear you, man. You were talking about PG Raw and all them, man. I feel like you could drop you one. You got to get on Matt and one of the Mattins that's coming out, man.
Ooh, that man.
Yeah, because I heard Black Zach he was on there
on Madden.
Yeah, he had a song on there a couple years ago. Flag on the Play.
Oh yeah.
He was just talking about that.
That
We was out there talking Call of Duty.
Call
of Duty, man.
For sure, I'm gonna get into the games. I might make my own little game because I love games that much. Feel me? I'm gonna get into them.
Yeah, he was on there. I can't remember which year it was, but it was like it was one of the recent years.
Recent years.
Yeah, it was a recent year.
I think it's 21 though.
It might have been. It might have been 21. 21, 20. In that range.
Like that got a song on there. You gotta make your YouTube video game playing channel. Make that money on there.
Twitch.
Like
Twitch.
What's T Grizzly?
T Grizzly be on there. Yeah, gotta be saying T.
He be getting that. They say he get that money. He say all his homeboys make $20K a month.
I be on there, but I don't get no money.
Oh yeah,
on his server.
They be lit on there. They do be lit on there. That PC.
You say you go to play the game, like rapping, playing the game. People actually watch you. You already got a following. And I was in your comments, like watching the video, and somebody was like, "Even if you don't get big, I'm gonna listen to this song every day, regardless." Like you want people to say that. That's a love for real.
That. You always wanna. Them the people that you want to intertwine yourself with, because that's gonna help you grow. They gonna talk to somebody like, man, you gotta listen to this.
They gonna make
somebody else. You're gonna make somebody listen. You feel me?
That's how you build. Word of mouth is the best way to
word of mouth. That's how everything was traveled.
It's social proof.
When somebody gives somebody social proof, you don't listen like you already got social proof. So people see us bring this out there like, okay, I check out dude. He got social proof. Like, he got 42,000 followers. Yeah, what he doing? What he got going on?
All them views on World Star, YouTube. Like,
you
want to see me?
I ain't never had 100K views on nothing.
You got multiple videos. But do you feel like you get the love from the SC that you deserve?
It's all gonna be love. It's all gonna be hate. So you don't really put it in no area.
And then the area you in, it
come with it. You feel me? You don't even put it in no area. So
you got to sit in the house where the area you live. You stay from. Boy, it's hot in that area.
Well, I hear about the A.
Look, hey, I staying away from them.
Shout out to y'all for real. I don't want no problem. I was reading this article with it. It was like 30 something like killers in the Aiken County in just a summer.
It's a hot summer, boy. Hey, that's why I stay in Lexington County. I don't stay there, but that's why I be here. But
I'm about to say, you stay in Lexington County?
No, you know, I be here sometimes. You know how I be.
You know where you from.
Yeah, we know where you from.
Slide.
Charleston County.
Here on the coast.
But who would you like to collab with?
Who I like to collab with? You feel me? I got somewhere O&B Peasy. I want to put that out. You feel me? Definitely want to put that out.
Okay.
You feel me? Lil Baby, one of them guys. You feel me? Like, you feel me? Everybody want to work with Lil Baby, so you want to put them in that mix. You feel me? So
I gotta watch that documentary of Lil Baby on Prime Video.
My lady was watching it one day.
Says on Prime.
My lady watched it too before being like kind of made me mad. Cause like we gotta watch it. You can't watch that. Come on, man.
Cheating.
Right. I mean, I know I'm
busy.
bad.
I ain't there, but I'm like, you gonna do that to me for real?
I know.
No, that's how you would feel. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you cheat.
Damn.
I'm jelly.
Ain't no
cheating.
Ain't no jelly type of guy.
But Lil Baby, somebody you want to work with?
Yeah, Lil Baby, one of them guys. You feel me? You got so many artists you want to. You feel me? Oh, me and Young Rock Ken, he hard.
Where he from?
He from Augusta.
From Augusta.
We got a song. Yeah, he one of them guys too.
We need to touch base with him, you know.
About to say, yeah, man, he tough. He Atlanta based right now, but he working.
Yeah, he working. I guess I just hope like the people that in your circle or whatever see this or whatever.
No,
like,
we growing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They want to pull up on us too.
Oh yeah, if my boys want to pull up, I'll bring them. Yeah. Hey, I know my bro Strap want to pull up.
Yeah,
man, you feel me?
Strap from Travis Porter.
No, Lil Strap, my brother.
Okay,
Strap, my brother.
For real, man.
He rapping, he doing his thing too. We got one-on-one.
Yeah.
You probably seen it on my
Yeah, I saw one-on-one.
Yeah, that's me. That's my boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We definitely gotta make this happen because, like I said, we just trying to grow, man. Like just do something big for the state, man. Like some people have already done a shot to Asia Wilson. You know, she won the championship for WNBA.
Yeah, I seen that.
And like she put on for the SC too. Like
we'd love for her to come have a conversation with us, and we put on for the
that'll be hard because she is lit.
Yeah, she
I had watched her
at the press conference.
Yeah,
she was definitely lit.
Definitely lit.
Yeah, the day after the parade,
control herself.
Before the parade, she had tweeted where the Four Locos at.
Yeah, I saw that. She was trying to get lit. It took her back to high school.
We had them when I was in college.
That's one of those moments, like, and folks don't congratulate that enough.
Yeah,
but congratulations, you feel me? Like that's one of them. That's one of them moments. You feel me?
She did it. Like I say, she don't want the NCAA #1. She don't want
high school.
High school
#1. High school.
She was the best player in high school, best player in college, best player in WNBA. She's just the best player. She got her own statue already. Shout out to her, man.
Just imagine that though. Like
she
literally
gonna sit in this seat one day
at what she do.
Brother, yeah, she literally won the highest accomplishment at every level. I'm about to say every level she played on.
That's hard.
So you know she's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, automatic. She can start playing right now. The Hall of Fame, first ballot.
Imagine having a statue in front of the school you went to.
Definitely.
That's different.
That's way different.
That's different already, and she ain't even in her 30s. That's how great she already been. That's like saying like Tupac. All what he accomplished before he died. He died at 25. You know how much he got out here. We think Tupac lived like 50, but he only lived to 25 because of all the content.
He living forever.
Yeah,
He gonna live. He gonna live forever.
That's what I'm saying. With your music, it's like it's gonna live forever. Like it's gonna touch people and touch them forever. And that's what you want to do. You gotta leave your mark some way. So you gotta find your passion, like you say, because this is what we doing. We going after our passion.
Hell yeah.
Go after the passion.
We love talking. We love like meeting people because us being twins or whatever, we always been like different. You feel me? Like, so we always had each other.
You feel me? That's the thing.
And people like talking to us too.
Balance, exactly.
And we can talk. You feel me? So like we know we can make people comfortable because like when you see twins, like y'all twins, like the first thing your dad said. You feel me? So it's just different. It's like cause you're not expecting ever to see twins. You know, like you never just walk around seeing that.
Look, my daddy a twin.
Yeah, that what you said about that.
That's what I'm saying. But like just for me. Me being a twin, when I see twins, I be so shocked and surprised. I count in my head, be like, I want to tell them I'm a twin too. like you just fit this camaraderie with them or whatever, man. That's hard. It's so hard, man. It's so hard being here, man.
So that's why that's just been our passion, like just trying to like build this for like 2 years, because we just want to be different. Not saying like you want to be a celebrity, but I want to get paid off being me.
Exactly. You always want to. Cause that's when you gonna feel like it's more life, less work.
More life, less work. I control my time.
Exactly.
I want to control my time.
And then when you are working, you doing something you enjoy.
You feel me? So it just don't feel like no work.
I'm
doing my
like
thing.
in the studio, there ain't no work for you. Like,
no, I'm having a great time.
Like, this ain't work for me. We can do this without the mic.
I want this. You feel me? You feel me? I want this to be the best. I want it to sound greater than the last one.
Exactly. So tell me that rush. Cause I watched your video. You was on stage with your homeboy. Y'all was performing. Tell me that rush. You performing out watching. Like,
that's always one of the ones. Definitely when the game there. You feel me? Cause that boy, they gonna turn you up their edge. Like, this one of those ones. This one of those ones, and they gonna tell you like, boy, that's the one. This the one.
Yeah. I akin that to Friday nights football. Like it make you feel like Friday night football.
You feel me? That's the kind of the vibe. You
feel me? Like
way up
in the zone.
You feel me? In the zone,
boy.
Take you back. You feel me?
Hit the keep watching for it. Turn off it, boy. Keep watching with the remote to your right.
Oh my bad, yeah.
We only change the channel. 7 hours of commercial-free football.
Look, Falcons, you feel
can't
me?
beat that.
Falcons finna get their ass bust again.
Definitely.
Y'all ready?
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, let's get a couple thoughts.
We got a segment on the show we call Couple Thoughts. It's when we
have a cup and we have some thoughts in that cup and we ask them to the guests. The cup, that's the same cup that fell.
Oh shit! Look, we done lost the damn thoughts.
Yeah, right.
What's your happiest memory?
Happiest memory, my baby.
Being born. How old your baby is?
4 months.
Oh, that's newborn, baby.
Congrats. This your first?
Yep.
Oh,
first
welcome.
kid.
Yeah. How I felt?
Welcome.
It's life, new life.
Yeah.
You feel me? It's yours. You feel me? Like you had a part of this. You feel me? You got to stay a part of this.
Yeah.
That's the moment you don't want to miss nothing.
You don't want to
just don't want to miss nothing.
Just more inspiration.
Just more the biggest.
Like I haven't had a kid yet, man. So I'm trying to get to your point, man. I can't wait to feel that moment. I'm like, you say, like just seeing
really
Giselle.
a part of something.
You know what I'm saying? I feel that way with Giselle. I feel like, we can't just seeing Ken grow.
My brother got 6 kids. You feel me? Like, I felt happy every moment he did that. You feel me? Like,
but with your kid, you control everything.
Yeah.
Like,
you ain't got to be like, I can't say this to that kid. I can say whatever the fuck I want to say.
I can see that. Definitely. Definitely. You got that right.
Yeah, I got that right. Hey, nobody can tell me what I can't say.
Nobody, literally.
Nobody
else,
can't
literally.
say nothing to my baby.
What you saying?
I control it.
And like you made a statement. You said like you want to see her grow and be there forever. And like it is, like I said, you got your dad with you or whatever. But like I'm one of the people that like I ain't really have my dad there the whole time. So like I feel like you got to stay there no matter what.
Yeah, you want to be around kid. You want to see them grow. Like my daughter is 4 right now. You feel me? It's like it's dope to see her at from 4 months to 4.
Yeah,
it's a
I
big
know it's just
difference.
gonna
But it's like
be-
I done saw all
I
of
done
that.
saw all
you
of
feel
it.
me? Like
I won't
I like
forget
to see my daughter every day. Unfortunately, I don't get to see it every day no more. But it's like it's dope because you get to see the changes daily.
So you still live a life to see the growth.
Yeah, you feel me? Like, oh, she can pick something up with one hand. Now she can multitask. You seeing stuff like that in the kids that you don't even think about.
You feel me? Like,
because at first they only can do something with one hand. Then they go back, I can do something with their hand and their hand at the same time. Yeah, you feel me? Like
the first steps definitely gonna hit you.
Yeah. She going through training. I'm gonna be holding her like, come on.
Okay, then
go. I'll be
Go ahead. Yeah, come on. She gonna walk.
Remember you was like you had learned that she learned how to swing by herself. You're like, it was so dope or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you didn't know how to swing last time I saw you, but now she going to daycare now, so she get to be around other kids. So like they take her to another level. Like I say with Chantal daughter Ken, like quote unquote, like my girl's daughter, she like I say stepdaughter. She played soccer. She started to play soccer last year. Like she got at first she was crying when she hit the ground, but now she can hit the ground, bounce right back up. It made her so much tougher. And like that's just life or whatever. Like you got to go through situations to make you tougher or whatever.
So what situation?
The life gonna beat you down. Life gonna beat you down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's so much.
Yeah.
There's some tough situation you done went through.
Yeah. Shit, it's life.
Life.
Shit. It's life. That's right. That's a genuine answer.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean it.
Yeah.
Surely, like.
Yeah. I feel
so
the same
much,
way.
Exactly. Like I know it's somebody that feel the same.
What?
I know it's somebody that feel the same. You feel me?
Doing this every week is a grind. It's hard. Doing your music, it's hard.
Gotta stay on it.
Because you mentally gotta make good music even when you might not even be feeling the best.
Yeah.
Like damn, like I just want to just chill, but like it's like it's something inside you. Like I can't stop. If I
There's
stop,
a part of me.
Never.
Yeah, it's a part of me
Never.
now. It's like having, if you play NFL football, you got games on Sunday. You just play on Sunday, you know that. But doing this, we usually record on Sundays. This is what we do on Sundays. Like everybody know, like my family.
You don't watch the game and record.
Yeah, we watch the game and record.
Yeah, the best way.
You can do with your boys and stuff. You just watch the game and just chill and then have a conversation.
Yeah, I got a soccer game to go to when we leave here. So
okay,
my little boy.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. Like I'm saying, he got stuff to do.
He's gonna handle when I leave.
Running. But what's y'all happiest memory?
My happiest memory, that would be, I would guess my kids being born too. But not going. I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna go beyond that. I ain't gonna say that. Other than that, my happiest memory, I would say, when I signed to go to school, football. Yeah. I said that was my outside of my kids.
We had one again.
Public prep. Yeah, BYU.
He always said that.
Yeah, BYU.
Backyard University.
Your backyard.
I don't know about like, my happiest moment is just to be like when I accomplish stuff that I put on my task list. I love accomplishing stuff.
That's a
like, even if it's the smallest thing, but it's gonna add up. So when I accomplish, like just like some stuff that I done got lately or whatever, it's like, man, this been on my bucket list to accomplish, and I accomplished it. That's when I'm my happiest.
Hell yeah.
Terms.
My kids being born. Yeah.
We had 3 kids in 1 year.
Man, well, you stupid.
He did.
It wasn't 1 year.
It was like 11 months.
13.
I know.
13.
13.
Yeah, I was about to say it was about 13, 14 months, baby.
Well, yeah, when they were born,
he had twins.
born and my little girl was born. That was
Twins.
What would be mine? Besides my daughter being born, I would probably say when I got the duplex or whatever, because it was something that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to become a landlord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like, damn, because nobody ever taught me to do this. I taught myself. It's like you doing rap or whatever. It's like you get a big song, you get 100K views, 300K views on YouTube. Like, damn, that's my song. Yeah, I did it. I just dropped it, and a lot of people shit that I didn't like my shit.
Hell yeah, that's all.
Damn, like.
You feel me? They watching me, and they want to hear from me.
Yeah, they actually care.
They actually care.
They don't know people that care.
It's some people that viewing this probably just Don't care.
Yeah, you know, they just looking at it.
Just look and see what
some people watch.
Thank you for the view.
Yeah, appreciate that
You
view.
gotta like it, but
as soon as you click on it, appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you.
But somebody watching like, I can't wait till you put out something else. Like, I wish you put out the vlog. I want to watch what he doing. What he doing right now?
Comments is comments be special.
Somebody had commented to us. What's his name was? It was
like
Jalen Ellison or something. What he had said?
I forgot what he had said, but it was
we
dope.
inspired him though. That joint was very dope. Cause like I said, I could say if you can inspire one person to say like, man, y'all make me feel like I can do it too. Cause I want other people to think that you can do this. Like if I learned to do all this by myself, you definitely can.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Yeah, because y'all boys being twins, I feel like y'all probably split a brain, so y'all boys ain't really got it all. You feel me? I know y'all brain. That's why y'all work good when y'all work together. You feel me? Yeah.
Double brain.
But by ourselves, we don't make that happen.
Yeah, I don't think, by yourself, I think y'all boys be a little off. I was wondering off.
They'll be lost.
I think they'll be a little wondering off, boy. Yeah. Oh, we over here.
That's tough.
Damn.
The second question. What was the best advice someone gave you? And from who?
Best advice someone gave me. You feel me? I got to get this to my pops, you feel me? And my mama, you feel me? Because
Terry.
You feel me? Yeah, Terry and Jennifer, you feel me? They tell me, be better than them, you feel me?
Yep.
And you ask yourself, like, what's better than them? You feel me? Like, but you know shit.
Yeah.
Do everything they did plus.
Yeah, plus.
Extra. You feel me? So you just go harder than they ever could. You feel me?
Yeah, because like
that's what they build you up for.
Exactly.
They want you to be 10 times better than them. Like, I want my daughter to be the best at everything.
Yeah,
you feel me?
Yeah.
Don't matter if it's music. I don't care what she want to be the best
Dressing,
at. Singing, whatever she want, whatever she sports, whatever she want to do. I want her to be the best.
Yep. I want longest hair.
Yeah.
You feel me? Longest hair.
Prettiest face.
Yeah, everything. Prettiest toes.
Hey, all that.
You feel me? Everything. Yeah. I want her to be the best.
Whatever. Same way.
Hell yeah.
What's some good advice?
You got the question already.
Good advice.
Yeah, the best advice someone gave you.
I could say my mom's. My mom gave me some good advice, and it was recent. And she was like, Dante, you only can control what you can control. That's true.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
you can't go out your way to be the.
I can't make another person.
You see it.
I can't make another see it my way.
You feel me? Like,
exactly.
Can't do that.
Never can.
I cannot make another person. Like, especially me. She said that to me for me being like I'm involved in coaching now and things like that.
Yeah.
So at this point, I've seen, like, when it comes to sports, I've seen it from every perspective: player, coach, and me, my kid being soccer now. I see it as a parent now.
Yeah.
So I see it for every view now, and I just feel like some parents, man, they gotta take it easy. That's all I'm saying. Like, they don't. They just gotta take it. Yeah, I'm about to say you gonna control what you can control.
Your kid ain't that good.
No, I ain't see. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying.
I ain't saying that.
I'm not saying that. But I'm saying.
I ain't no coach. I can say that.
As coaches, we want kids to succeed.
Yeah.
No, nobody want no kid to fail.
Yeah, for
sure. Say, but as coaches, of course, coaches go mess up.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, but everybody's human. You gonna mess up. You're not gonna know what to put somebody at that moment. Things like that.
But you gotta be doing the necessary homework.
Exactly. It is a lot of things involved in that. People gotta understand. So,
but if I can't respect your hustle or your work ethic, then that's when I start questioning you.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
Yeah,
that's how I feel like if you're working hard enough, then I say like you just putting your hard work into it.
You put your work into things like that.
If you're doing the same, because like I was at the soccer game with my little girl with Ken yesterday. And it's a great play on Ken's team. The other coach was like, "Get the girl in white shoes."
Yeah,
that's
it's a game plan.
Yeah, smart. They ain't
Not
gonna
adjustment.
continue to let this little girl dominate them.
Exactly. Or if
Guard her.
somebody guarding her, you about to switch.
Yeah.
You feel me?
We
That's
know
what
she the
happens.
best.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Get the
some
best
point,
on them.
It'll make you mad. Though.
It's
You
not
keep seeing
important.
coach-
It's not like, oh, I don't like this kid, I'm not gonna play him. No. I could not like a kid, but if he feel like he
like a
benefit,
kid.
If you got kids,
but
you
he's still about to be out there. I don't care. I say, yeah, I ain't gonna say, I love every kid, like every single one of them. I don't
like
like
all
no
y'all,
different.
Uh-oh.
But some coaches may feel that way. I don't know. I can't. Like I said, I can't control everybody.
You coach like young kids though.
Yeah, young kids. That's how I coach young kids. But me, I control what I can control. Like I love all of them the same. I don't feel the best
you want
player.
the best
I don't
form.
feel the best player. I don't feel no way about him. No different than I feel our least best player.
But can you at least be like, hey, I'm gonna let the best players play, and that's what's gonna happen. That's what you do.
You can't always do that.
Huh?
You can't always do that.
Not exactly.
No,
Not
I'm saying,
always.
in Little League, they don't always do that. The coach's son be on All-Stars, and he suck every year. You feel me? So, like, if you the coach's son, you going to make to the All-Star. Come on now. When we grew up playing baseball, you know the coach's son was always on All-Stars. Every year he sucked.
He might old school look.
Like,
Hey, what did kid?
Connections, man.
Hey, what it is? What's that game? What's that game on Nick Cannon? On Wild or Not? I plead the fifth, man. I ain't
Quarterback,
saying
he the quarterback, man.
Gloverville like around like Belvedere, right?
Yeah.
Because we used to play Belvedere in baseball. That's what I'm saying.
Beat us in baseball.
Yeah, they were good at baseball.
Yeah, I always.
I played them. I played them before. Yeah, they definitely pounded us too.
He's the pound of this
Yeah,
baseball.
I remember that. I remember that name.
That was kind of.
But what's your best advice you done got on, John?
He said he got pounded.
Best advice somebody done gave me. I'll probably say from my mama, probably like, always telling me to keep God in my life, like always keep a relationship with God type stuff. Like, that's about the best.
I really can't think of no advice. I get good advice all the time. I mean, I like to take advice from a lot of people, so I get good advice.
I just say I had good advice from like Les Brown. He said, "You here today and you gone today."
Yeah,
it is what it is. Like you here today and you gone today. And the crazy thing about that, Friday when I got to work, this dude came to work and he died at work. You feel me? That's the crazy thing to go through or whatever. I didn't see it personally, but some people were walking by and actually saw him trying to resuscitate him and shit like that. And he didn't even make it. So like you came to work and you actually like
saw
died
somebody
there.
die.
No, I ain't seen nobody die.
No, I'm saying
Yeah, but some people
Some
did.
people did. I'm saying some people did.
Well, some people saw his last moments of life.
Of life, yeah.
You did, and that's like wow. And then the crazy thing about it also is you keep going.
Well, yeah,
that's
life
how it is.
life goes on.
Life goes on.
That was like the perfect example right there. Ain't
Yeah,
it?
perfect example. This life goes on, yo. That's why like what we're doing right here is just legacy. Like people gonna be able to see this interview and see like who Doodle Dunn is and who all us is over time. 50 years they gonna still see this interview. You did.
Yep.
When you in your 60s, you got grandkids. Your career done blew up. How it can go?
Hopefully,
your
ours
daughter
just as high.
50.
And y'all just as high.
Yeah.
And
we there. And we really did this, and like I said, we took it to another level.
Take it to another level. That's it.
That's what it's about. You feel me? We'll do one more question though.
I got a question for you though. Before we ask that question, what is the meaning behind 421 Blues?
421 Blues. That's you feel me?
What 421 a roll? Or?
Yeah.
So
you feel me? 421 the road.
Yeah. So like that's your blues down that road. That's the road you know. That's like 23 Highway, I guess, where we from.
It's just like a whole lot of everything.
So basically, like, it's so close to Georgia and Augusta.
Yeah,
boy.
Like I said, it's right across. It's a bridge.
Y'all
it's a
be
bridge.
in Georgia all the time,
It's
man.
a bridge.
I go to
you
Augusta
go-
Mall, but I don't really be
Yeah,
going
you
to
go
Augusta
through
like
it.
that.
Yeah, you go through that.
The Augusta Mall way better than Columbiana. Y'all
Yeah,
heard about the lady that was found at Columbiana
Yeah, in the
Mall?
bathroom, she was dead for like a couple of days. Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Like,
Now, what the
I
hell
know the
happened,
manager
Auntie?
getting fired.
Yeah, somebody.
Yeah, I'm telling you, somebody got to get fired.
Somebody
Yeah,
out. That
got to
bitch-
get
somebody out.
custodian or something.
Somebody out. You feel me? Custodian.
Yeah,
or something.
everybody's it got to be. Cause you ain't, first of all, ain't nobody clean these bathrooms
For 4 days?
What?
Huh? She was.
Oh, she
Oh,
was
she
custodian.
was the custodian.
Oh, shit.
So that makes sense. Now it makes sense. Okay. Okay.
But like
I guess now that still don't make sense. Because why ain't nobody been like what the other
looking at her time.
Yeah, I'm about to say what
Like
she ain't clocked out.
She ain't clocked out.
Yeah, she ain't never clocked out. And
her cart didn't ever
her
leave.
cart, yeah. What is cart?
Somebody had to walk in that bathroom to
And
see
see
some
the
legs
cart.
in there.
Something like something.
Hey, people mind their business. You feel me?
Yeah, that's true though. Yeah, that's true.
It's his bathroom.
It might have been my. Yeah, it might have been my. Just might have
People
been.
ain't think twice.
So it probably was basically like how it was on the movie Life or whatever. Remember that man about to free Eddie Murphy or whatever and Martin them?
And he died on the toilet.
Died on the toilet.
Yeah.
That they say too. They say like before you die, you have your last bowel movement. That was it.
That's true. That's true.
Last question. This is a good one right here, though. We always like asking this one. What was your high school crush?
Yeah, you got a name.
It was before. Was you with your high school crush now?
Hell no.
Okay, then you can answer this.
But I say, man, I've had plenty of love. I was saying, high school. What we talking about?
What was that girl that you like? Hey, that's that girl.
That's true.
That's that girl.
That's true.
That's that
You
girl.
ain't gotta say you even had her. She just was that girl back in high school. Cause like thinking about you, that guy right now anyway. So it's not like she can flex on you. You know?
Yeah, it ain't nothing wrong. You feel me? But I just say it gotta be Mariah then. But I say out of so many. We talking about high school.
That's true. That's why you can say who it is. I mean, you ain't too far removed from high school, but we so far removed from high school that the girls in high school had kids and like they just grown. Like, just like it's so different or whatever now. I feel you. But that's the question you always ask, bit.
I want to know like 5 years from now, where Dooley the Dunn gonna be at, and what he gonna be doing.
For sure, gonna be on the billboard.
For sure,
you already been
gonna
there.
be on tour somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Sure. Or on vacation with the fam.
That's right.
If I ain't adding no,
you ever you gonna be the hands of a dick, man. The money come, babies come. Yeah. So you been on tours before?
Nah, not like no real tour. You feel me?
What's all the different places you perform?
Yeah.
What are different places you have performed, like different cities?
You feel me? I didn't got to Alabama.
Okay.
You feel me? I didn't got to Florida. You feel me? You feel me? Trying to run to Carolina. That's where they bring everybody at anyway. You feel me? So
that's the place to start.
You feel me? So this you gotta run that. You feel me? Got places in Atlanta. You feel me? So I'm just trying to stretch it some more.
Yeah,
who you been in the studio with? Like the people that we know. Like just talking about y'all just in there just making a song.
Oh yeah, I was in there with Peasy.
Okay. I thought you had a song that said
Big
Rodriguez.
Yeah, I went in his studio when he did his verse.
Okay.
So, you feel me? I got one with Quando. I wasn't in the studio when he did his verse either.
Okay.
But Peasy and Big Yavo, I was in the studio.
Big Yavo. Okay.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I know. I know Yavo. I told a bitch I'm here quit playing. Yeah.
I gotta listen.
They say my little boy look like Big Yavo.
Yeah.
Hey, no cap, though.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. That's funny. I know Big Trey be with some artists or whatever, but like I say, the artists, I'm older, so I be listening to people like, I listen to Cool Skull album, I listen to Black Zach album.
Yeah.
But like, I don't be knowing the young guys. That's what I'm saying. Like when you told me about you, I'm like, okay, I start looking you up or whatever because I just don't be knowing the young people.
My little brother knew who you were.
Yeah.
He was like,
22?
I knew
22.
I knew who you were. I'm 25. I ain't too far more. Them boy old.
Yeah. Somebody
they growing.
Yeah. We wiser. That's what it is.
Had to get together with Antonio last night. I was standing with somebody. We listened to music and stuff. They had started playing like some new artists we had never heard of. Like, hey man, man. We get old. Bro. I don't know none of these people, man.
They all knew. They all knew. But it's dope because like you listen, you like cause you got a small family, you young, but like your voice still carry though, you know.
Like, powerful.
Yeah.
That's why I like about it the most because like like powerful. I like when you amplify through the mic or whatever. That's why like with our setup or whatever, like we could just be sitting without no mic. But I just love the way it sounds. Even with the headphone, I love the way it sounds coming through the mic.
You can hear it.
Make you feel like you're in the studio. Like I could have beat
that.
now.
Yeah, this is the vibe. This is the vibe. I love the headphone. And die.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Your dad
talk to a microphone.
Yeah. Give it to the people. For real. Your dad, you can't hear what we hearing right now. Like we in the mic, like we in the studio. Well, yeah, maybe we want to get on this beat though, for real. Though, but okay, then give us a person or two people that you feel like shit come on our platform.
Person or two people. You feel me? I want to shout out. I want to get it to the game. You feel me? Like Rock Out Red. You feel me?
Yep.
Lil Shroud. You feel me?
Okay.
Set it up. Guy, he ain't so you feel me?
Set it up. I listen to the music, and we gonna make it happen.
Say less. Hey, you can bring my brother out here. Like, my brothers. You feel me? You can bring my brothers out here.
Let people know it's a vibe and shit.
Man,
like
yeah,
that.
it's definitely a vibe. Yeah. You ain't feel me? You ain't cramped up. You chilling. You watching the game.
Yeah. We just here.
No, in the Falcons.
Corey Patterson school. He ain't on my fantasy.
You
from South Carolina too, right?
Yeah, definitely from South Carolina.
Rock here. I was saying the energy, man. South
See what I'm saying? Yeah.
You gotta pick the South khaki. You gotta pick the South khaki.
Go perform.
Don't perform. That's us. That's us.
You gotta do it. What else you got going on that you want the people to know before we get out of here?
I just want y'all to be ready for this music, ready for these videos, ready for these features. You feel me? You feel me?
Yeah, I feel like you definitely.
I just want to work.
Yeah.
I'm ready to work.
Yeah, if you ever need somebody taking photos or something like that, you got some video.
I just got me a gimbal today. That thing gonna be so nice. It just came in too, but man, for real, like, we appreciate you because like I want this to be like I say next time. Like I say, when you even bigger or whatever,
I'm gonna spin back.
When you go from 42 to 420K,
you feel me? You gotta spin back.
And
I'll got to again, like, what's up?
Yeah, we know each other.
Doing it. And I'm gonna have me a diamond. I'm gonna have me one of the watches on.
Everybody out here looking.
Watches on. But for real, it's like I say, because you got to start it. Because say you started out with 190 followers or whatever on your IG, and like I say, well, you done took it now. And like I say, people, because like, I mean, obviously perspective. People gonna respect you more with your numbers looking like that. I mean, you know, that's what I'm saying. That's why we say with our platform, like, we feel like when people walk in here, they don't give us respect for the things we got or whatever. But our numbers right now,
you gotta respect somebody for their person.
That's first and foremost.
First and foremost,
before
the numbers. It's a lot of people that don't.
They don't. So it's I can understand it because like you feel like they ain't gonna bring the correct value for your time. But like say like the conversation right now you having or whatever, this conversation gonna live forever. And hopefully you learn something, I learn something, and the people that watch this learn something.
You watch this again and feel like, that's a lesson.
You feel me? Just listen to it.
Just listen.
Like we're talking about, you gotta be there.
You gotta be there.
You just gotta be there, man. Like in the number. And if you ain't in the number, you ain't gonna. I always say to get off the wait list, you gotta get on the list.
Gotta get on the list.
You gotta get on there first.
You can't get off of it. You know, like we can't be the most. We can't be the best podcast in South Carolina if we
ain't doing a podcast. I can't be the hottest if I ain't dropping the hot shit. Let's do it.
It's very self-explanatory.
Hell yeah.
But man, appreciate you coming on for real though.
Appreciate y'all.
I mean, got Dooley done in the building, man. We got Terry over there on the side, man. Shout out to you, man. Shout out y'all pulling up, man.
Jared Paul, little brother, done pulled up on today. It's a big week for us, man. Full supply. We got we ain't done yet. We gotta give our socials and stuff.
I forgot. We gotta give our socials.
Your socials, Dooley.
You feel me? Y'all can follow me on Instagram at Dooley the Don 421. That's DOOLEYDADON 421. Gang.
How you be Dooley the Don? How you even get that name?
Dooley the Don. My homeboy Omar from middle school. You feel me? Like Dooley the Don.
Dooley Truck.
Yeah, my uncle called me Dooley Truck. You feel me? Like
that's all I think about.
My mother Red gave me the name Dooley. Feel me? I ain't never went by my
It's so
name.
smooth because I stutter, so when I say S's, I kind of stutter, but doodly done just
Dooley
roll
done.
off.
Yeah, I just want to
Doodly done. Y'all gotta listen to his music though, because like I say, it's a vibe. It's
Check him out.
It ain't like it's
YouTube, easy to
melodic.
find.
Yes, it's easy. He got
Put in
views, so
Dooley
it's like
done.
you gonna be like, okay, he's somebody.
And he from where we from. Like,
Yeah,
you feel me? Like, he
definitely.
ain't too far even up the road from us. Probably about 45 minutes from where we
45
from.
minutes.
You feel
Yeah,
me? Like, being from Batesburg, like, it's the same shit. And then he from South Carolina. Like, we trying to build something down here. Trying to build a media platform.
Give your socials, Dante.
Everybody can follow me on Twitter. It's SuperJuice12, SUPA. You can't spell juice, that's on you. You can follow me on IG, King Cobra, both on 2Ks. And then you can follow me on Snap at JuicePat12. I got you.
And you have a lot of gay porn on there.
Shut the fuck up, man. Hey, you can follow me at Y20 on Twitter, Instagram. You can follow me at Hassani_Guy on the Snap. Doodly done. Do you know what Hassani means in Swahili? It means handsome, and I'm that guy. Go ahead.
Twitter at the Jeremy Gant. IG, same thing, and Snap is Jeremy.Gant.
To this day. I just wanted to say that.
I know.
But you can follow me on IG and Twitter at the Money QB, because you know I make them plays with the money. Go to Snapchat, Fine Ass Twin. That's always been me. Go to the IG and Twitter for the Navy Black Podcast at Navy Black Pod. Go to the YouTube, Navy Black Podcast. Subscribe to you boys, man. Check out the video with us, man. Like it. Man, give us a follow. Let us get to 1,000 or something. We at like 600. Can we get like 400?
Drop a comment.
Drop a comment.
I like. We need all that because we need support.
And I'm replying to the comments.
Yeah.
Straight like that, man.
I'm begging you.
We the most interesting podcast in South Carolina, I believe, and we have the most interesting people on. So why wouldn't you want to be a part of the interesting?
Why not?
Why not?
We got Dooley in the building, man. But you also need to go to the website, NavyBlackPodcast.com. Get your merch, man. We got the hoodies. We got ring value, actions over word, be a doer, man. All that, man.
Dude,
we got the
gonna
bucket
have
hat.
some of this, and we got terrorist shirt too.
Yeah, okay,
You know how we
let
do,
y'all
man.
know.
Man, let me go to this. I fucked up.
This man, he
got a brain value.
Go off his game.
That's hard. He off of.
This is the Navy Black Podcast. We'll see y'all next week. It is.
Yeah.
Dooley.
DreamCloud is a luxury hybrid mattress made with premium materials at half the price. Every DreamCloud comes with $399 in accessories, plus an additional $200 off a 365-night trial, a forever warranty, and free shipping. Go to DreamCloudSleep.com today.
Can't get your day started or keep it going without coffee? Well, buzz through Smoothie King and discover how we do coffee better than the rest. Delicious coffee smoothies made with your choice of new robust espresso or mellow cold brew. Plus the added boost of real nutrition and no artificial flavors. Any time of day makes Smoothie King your king of coffee. And enjoy any 20-ounce coffee smoothie for just $5 before 11 a.m. Valid at participating locations. See website for terms and conditions.
The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Hallelujah to God's mighty army today. The church is in the house. We are so thankful and we give you all the praise, Lord. I just got to give you praise today. I just got to give you praise and we thank you. And I want to welcome my fabulous hosts. Hosts. Yeah, we got that, you know, you got to be careful. Host. Oh, okay, host. Okay, I think we need to look that up, Tommy. We need to look that up. Welcome to Miss Trey from all the way. And I'm understanding she got a little coolness up there going on in Virginia, huh?
Yeah, a little
okay,
bit.
Well, you stay warm now. You stay warm now. We ain't gonna have that.
All right.
We ain't have that. And then, of course, I got Miss Tommy around the way. She's around the corner. Hallelujah. You call me anytime and give me a dime. Well, it don't cost that much. It costs 25 cents now. But probably 35 because we don't even pay phones anymore. You notice how they just got rid of the pay phones. You know, they didn't make an announcement, but they just got rid of the pay phones. And it's just like they get rid of stuff. They just don't, you know. I'm a representative for a company, and I'm waiting. Getting ready to file my new order, and I'm like, well, where are my products? What y'all do? So I had to call corporate. I said, well, do you have it in the back room? Because what did you do with the rest of them? I know you have to make a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? So what you do with the rest of them? No, we don't have any. I said, no, you need to go look. Give me somebody else on the phone who got those other keys to the other doors that you can't access. You know, I know that probably the child probably said, oh my God, this customer with this representative, she was kind of weird. And she was telling me to go to find the keys with the man with the keys with the other room. And I know I gave them something to talk about last week. Anyway, we want to thank you all for joining us this evening to another segment of Setting It Straight with Miss Gray. And we're going to do a couple of things here. The first thing I want to do is a little housekeeping. I just want to say I started on it last week, I believe. If anybody have any events or special community events or anything that's coming up and you want us to announce it here on the show, give me a call or contact me through Facebook or whatever medium you're using, okay? And let me know. But probably, I think that'd be the best way to do it. But definitely just reach out to me or you can contact me through Facebook or and message me, you know, just Alicia Gray, or you could do it on the Setting It Straight page. I would appreciate it because that's the direction we're moving in according to the Lord. Amen. Another direction we're moving into, we're going to start having guests on the show. Amen. Amen. I know y'all a little tired of probably hearing us and everything, but you'll be all right. You're going to be all right because we're going to do what we do. But we're going to have start having some special guests on the show to help us out because they're coming in with some expertise. And I feel now especially what's getting ready to happen and the things that the forecast that's coming and everything like that. We got to definitely be ready to have some experts talk about things financially, things community service stuff. What resources are left in the community, where we're going to be able to go. Just for instance, today. I said to the Lord last night, and as I was waking up, I said, Lord, I need to go find sandbags, because even though my house is kind of on a hill, still the water that comes down in front of the front door and on the sliding glass door, the little concrete place there, it piles up. And even if it doesn't have to be a storm, it could just be a half a day of rain. And I've got a puddle in front of my door and in the backyard as well. So God told me, go and get some sandbags, of course. And I did that a few years ago, and it does help out. It soaks it all up, and we don't have to have that problem. So I was like, well, Lord, I need to go find sandbags. They should be announcing the closer this thing is coming, they should be announcing where we can go pick it up. Well, they did announce it because I follow the county and city on Facebook. But you have to come it's self-regulated. You have to come with your own stuff and dig for your own sand. So I'm like, okay, all right, not a problem. And the Lord, I didn't ask God, I didn't pray, I didn't have a visual, I didn't burn no candle. I just said, okay. And next thing I know, I get a call from the pastors that are just relocated to another city a few hours away from here and say, hey, Miss Gray, we still come to Orlando because his wife still works over here, and she'll be there tomorrow. So the Lord placed on his heart to call people he know in Orlando to see if they had anything that they needed. So she would bring it with her as she's coming to work tomorrow. And I said, well, no, I don't need anything, but I do need some sandbags. He said, not a problem. We got a whole lot over here. How many you need? 10, 20 bags? I said, no, not that many, not that many. I'm in the car trying to add up. Okay, about 4 could go in the front and 6 could go in the back. Well, that could be about 10, but let me get about 7, And so, this is why I love my Lord, because I don't have to I didn't make that phone call. I'm running errands and I'm getting a call because God laid us on someone's heart. Amen. And then he calls me back while I ran to the P.O. box and into the post office. And he's like, Miss Gray, you got your sandbags. She'll be delivering them tomorrow. Done. And that's why I love the Lord so much. And so, just little things like that. So we're going to have community people, commissioners, and people that know stuff and could give us the truth and give us direction so that we can understand life as it's rolling out, because life is getting ready to flip and flip again. And we're not going to be able to understand where do we go from here. And so, I wanted to put that out there as well, that we will be having guests on the show. Amen and amen. So, yes, Tommy, go ahead.
It's funny you should say that about the sandbags. I wasn't realizing they were giving them out, so early. And like yourself, I got a phone call from my neighbor. She said, I got you 3 for the front door. I'm like, oh, thank you. And didn't even think about it. He's just so on time. That's it.
And that's how he operates. You trust him, he's got you because he's already wrote the story. He's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. And he does very good with the in-between. He's already wrote the story. He knows how it's going to end. He knows when it's going to end. We don't have to know when it's going to end. For me, I don't have to know. I know Jesus is coming back. That's a given. But I'm not going to stop my life and say I got to wait on him because I'm so dissatisfied with the world. Had that been, I wouldn't even be on here today. You would have never met me. Because when I died twice 4 years ago, the second time it would have been it. It would have been it. Amen. So I know I've got work to do, and I take that very seriously. And I wish people would, come out of the mindset of, well, Jesus, I'm old and I'm not, or either there's nothing I can contribute. There's nothing I can do for the kingdom's sake. If you're a believer, you'd be surprised as to what He has for you. I'm surprised. I just went to a summit a months ago. He released me of one mantle and gave me 3. So somebody's out there not doing what they're supposed to do. So he laid it at my feet because he knows what? I'm going to do what he tells me to do. Amen. So, we can go on and we're going to talk about this. This is who we are and who we believe in. And this is what He gives us our strength. Not our education, not what family we come from, not our last name, not my neighbors, not anything else. Because at the end of the day, my neighbor isn't even asking, do you need sandbags? One of my neighbors didn't even know I was in the hospital for 97 days. He said, when I looked over, I just never really saw you coming out. I know you like to stay in your garage, so I guess I was missing you for 97 days. But I got people across town like Tommy, all concerned about my kids and making sure the family is fine. Making sure and to this day, she still does it. To this day. So, I know I'm going all around here, but this is just what's on my heart. Y'all got you got to line up. And most of the people that's watching the show on my end, I'm preaching to the choir, but you still got to step up. You can't just be dismayed. Don't be in despair. Don't become hopeless. It is going to get harder. It's around the corner, literally. A piece of that's getting ready to land possibly on Florida in the next 24 to 48 hours. We don't know what life is going to look like on Thursday. We don't know. But you need to just, you got to trust God. You got to trust God. When He told you months ago, before June, go get your hurricane supply stuff. Go get your batteries. Go get your flashlights. Go get your candles. Whatever you're going to use. Go get a generator. Everything was on sale. Everything was on sale. Left and right.
Tax-free also.
Tax-free. Several tax-frees. You didn't even realize they just had a tax-free on windows that are shatterproof, hardware, saws, hammer. They just had a no sales tax, and it was for weeks. But and I know people. Well, I don't like to look at the news. I haven't looked at the news later in the line. I ain't looked at the news in 5 years. I said, well, okay. So how do you know when there's a storm coming? Well, I really don't pay any attention to that. You know what? And that works for you? Fine. Who am I to judge you? That worked for her. She was proud to announce it. Fine. I don't watch the news every day. I look at Facebook news every now and then. And when the Lord says, okay, you need to keep the channel there for a minute. Next thing we know, we got a rapist running around at UCF, knocking on doors. Would you know that? No. So it's just, to each his own. We're not here to judge. We're not here to judge. If it works for you, fine. But don't call me 2:00 in the morning and ask for prayer. Don't do it. Because you made your decision on how you were going to do your life. And I have nothing to do with that. Amen and amen. And that's just me saying what I got to say. We are in Rosh Hashanah. It began sundown last night and it ends sundown tomorrow evening. And the biggest piece of that is this is the new year, the Jewish New Year. And I and my family, we follow this. And ever since one of my students announced it in class one night, I just happened to look and she said, Miss Gray, all 5 high holidays are happening this year. I saw you. She goes, that has not happened for hundreds of years. I said, what? It happened again a few years ago. Over 4 years ago. It happened again. All 5 holidays was in the month of September, right behind one another. And I was like, okay, time is winding up. Time is winding up, and the signs are right there. Now with Rosh Hashanah, and you still could do this, you still got time until tomorrow evening, get you some apples. We sliced up our apples, and we have honey. And that represents a sweet new year. So we stood around my island there, and we had our apples and our honey. And it was very good. You just know it's here. You anticipate it coming. Yom Kippur is coming up, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But it just works for us. It works for us. I just found out that they also is Feast of Horns, and they all that's when they blow the shofar a few times a day. So on Facebook, and for those of you who follow me on Facebook, on my Facebook page, I had my shofar and I blew it. God said, blow it 3 times, and I blew it 3 times. And thank God the dog didn't bark. That was good. She, she's in the spirit. Amen. And that was it. And I say, see you tonight, and I'm gonna blow it again tomorrow as he leads me. Amen. So, and I wanted to wear something white tonight. And it was so funny. My son, my baby boy said, Mom, we didn't take communion last night. I said, no, I want it right now. He ran right over here, got it. He got him one. And we said our prayers over it. And we do this in memory of you, Jesus. We took the bread and broke it for his body. It was broken for us. And I remember that. And I took communion. You don't have to take communion just the first Sunday of every month. And I know that's a culture thing. I get it. Live that way forever. Until I was trying to find out when should we take communion? And the Bible said, whenever. Whenever. I know people who take communion every day. But that's what works for them.
As often as he says.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, Tommy. See, that's why I encourage people to study the word for yourself. Because we're taught to listen to the person in the pulpit, to listen to the Sunday school teacher, to listen to our professors. But they've been wrong. Because why? They're men. They're just as flesh as we are. They bleed red blood like we do. They bruise like we do. And we need teachers. I was a professor. We need teachers. But we only could teach what we have studied ourselves to be in alignment so we could give the truth to the students. So they could be professionals and better professionals than we are. But sometimes people do get a little lost and they get way off and they veer right and they keep veering right. And then they make it up all kinds of stuff. And then God has to come and find us and push us forward where we need to be. Where we need to be. Amen. So that was our day, and I'm looking forward to Yom Kippur because in Yom Kippur is 25 hours of fasting. Now, I know people who are on medication, and God is just so funny because one of my high blood pressure pills that I've been on since I've been in the hospital, I have to take it without food in the morning. And my other one, I take in the afternoon with food or in the evening. So I can do a fast the whole day if I wanted to. And I do fast. Fasting needs to become a lifestyle, not just a once a year thing. And I'm not talking about the other fast. I know other man has come along and said fasting from your computer and fasting from your phone. People are trying to make it palatable and make it pleasing unto man. No, we don't even do a fasting like we really should. Go to Lamentations. Go to Leviticus. See how they didn't even call it a fast. They call it consecration. And they take days. They clean the house. They clean the animals. And I always have to chuckle at that because That's dust. They didn't have concrete then. They had rocks. So you cleaning the animals, they still gonna be dusty, you know. But that's how serious they took it. And there were times they pilgrimage to the Holy Temple in some of these. So it's 25 hours of fasting. God will help you to do it, but it's something about fasting from food. It's something, and not making no accommodations with it. It's something about you. If you do a 4-hour fast, excuse me, or you do an evening fast, or you, however you want, you're going to do the 40-day, fine. However, whatever. But see, God has to tell you to fast. That's what I've learned on my journey. Until it becomes a lifestyle. Because after Jesus fed the 5,000, the next chapter, Jesus was walking and looked back, and it was over 4,000, counting men only, not counting the women and the children. And he told the disciples what? Go find them some food, unless they think I've called a fast. Glory to God. It's right there. The next chapter. After he fed 5,000, he fed over 4,000. But he said, no, go find them some food, because the people just left and walked with it. My God, just left everything they had. And they didn't know where he was going. He had no itinerary. They didn't put it on a rock like, okay, we're going to go over to Jerusalem, and then we're going to make a left. We're going to maybe go over there to Egypt, but, we ain't going to stay there long. Because, no, they didn't have any of that. They just followed him because they wanted more. And you feel good about that. You feel good after you studied the word. You feel good after you sing a song. Glory to God. So, and I forgot to tell you, we anointed each other, before we started our apples and honey yesterday. So, all right. So I did all that. And now we're going to segue into, I wanted to still talk a little bit more, or see if the ladies had any more they wanted to talk about concerning National Suicide Awareness. I'm still not satisfied with being aware. We got to do something to slow this down. I don't know what it is. I don't know how many programs we could put out there. I don't know how many programs we have in the public schools and in the private schools, and we don't have many in the private schools, to be honest with you. So I don't know what's going to stop this. Our TikTokers, that generation, the Gen Z generation, the millennials, and then my seniors who are just giving up because they've outlived their family and they feel that they're by themselves. I need you. If you all know of any senior citizen that has outlived their family, please let me get their number, because I need them on my advisory board. I need words of wisdom surrounding me. So if they are willing to talk to me and guide me, a total stranger, I'm willing to have them. I will reward them. Whatever they need, we'll make sure they get. I promise you that. So I don't care what state you're in, or city you're in, or country you're in. If you know of a senior citizen that has outlived their family and they're feeling dismayed, they're feeling despondent, they're feeling like, I don't know what's left for me. Call me, inbox me, contact me. We got work for them. I got something for them to do for me. I do. And to encourage them, because they're my heart. Amen. And it don't matter what denomination, it doesn't matter what diversity, ethnicity, or race they are. If they're willing to come forward and help me out a little bit, I'd appreciate it. Probably will talk them to death, but here we go. So, ladies, I'm going to be quiet. Did you all have anything else that we want to add? Because then we're going to move into our next subject, which will also roll over to next Monday's talk as well.
Well, I had a talk with a young lady this weekend, and her friend committed suicide. They were actually waiting on them to come. And she said we could not pick up if there was something wrong. It was well disguised, and they were waiting on that person. And I said, so he had been depressed. She said, no, he was always goofy. The last time we saw him, which was the day before, goofy, laughing, clowning, being the same person that they've always known. And then the next moment, he was gone. She said, I couldn't even go to the surface because it couldn't register, in her mind. And I said, so he didn't show no financial issue or anything. And she said, no, nothing. And it's just, how do you help somebody when you can't even discern something was wrong? And that's my question to it now, because I've heard so many say there were no signs. There were no, like your typical ones, they might talk about it. They make up, say something, but if they don't say anything or you see some visible signs or something that will make you think, or he ain't about to do what I think he about to do, when you have somebody that don't do that out of the blue, how do you help? That's my question.
I've not been able to. I can't. I only pray that I don't miss it. That I don't miss somebody. Someone called me today, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" "I'm okay." And I'm like, "No, you don't sound okay. What's going on? Talk to me immediately." "No, you don't sound right." And so, but you can never always tell it. You can never always tell it. I don't know. Go ahead, Trey.
The only thing I was just going to say is maybe, how I go back to this communication piece, making it so people feel comfortable talking. You say, whenever you feel like you need to talk, you can talk to me, you can confide in me, we can work this out together, so maybe opening it up, and trying not to be judgmental. You have to kind of pick up on cues. And I'm not sure. I've known of a couple of people that have, taken their lives. Not necessarily personally, I don't think. But I think just being open to just look. You should, if you're not okay, just make sure you reach out to me and just acting like you're concerned more so than you're trying to get information and get gossip, and don't spread things around. So that's my suggestion to it, and I think that how we little comments of even commenting about mental health and little sly remarks. Why would somebody do that? Or why would, just some things you can kind of make people uncomfortable, not even talking about their situation, but another situation. When you talk about things as sensitive as that, as suicide and mental health.
Yeah, the stigmas are still you're right on it. You just nailed it, Trey. The stigma is still out there, and we have to be careful what we are saying in the company of people. Child, she crazy. Some people will take that very serious. I mean, we can only joke for so far. And I just told somebody something the other day, and I said I can only say this in front of you, because other people would not be able to handle it. And I'm finding out another thing too, and I don't know if you ladies have experienced this yet, but people put you on such a pedestal that they fear coming to you for whatever reason. They fear you finding out whatever's plaguing them, whatever's stalking them, whatever they're going through. And that's what hurts me the most. is that people are afraid. I used to have students say, "Oh, Miss Gray, let's go out to lunch." And I said, "Yeah, I go out to lunch," and they were surprised that I would say yes because we were getting ready to end the semester. Now, while we're in the semester, I'm not going out to lunch with you because I don't want you to get it confused that you're going to make some sort of impression on your grade. So I would wait purposely after the semester and say, "Yeah, give me a call." And they're like, "Oh, well," and they never would. And I asked one person one time, I said, "You always say that, but we never went out. You've graduated now, but we've never went out." "Well, Miss Gray, I kind of drink with my lunch, And so I'm sitting there, okay, so what does that have to do with me? "Well, I don't want to drink in front of you." I said, "Well, first, okay, now, right now," and I'm glad you told me this because you need to take me off the pedestal, okay? I am just as human as you are. I appreciate the respect. I do, because I'm not a drinker. But the only thing is, I don't drink. You can do whatever you want to at lunchtime. Just make sure you don't choke because I can't help you. I can call 911. That's all I can do. That's all I can do. I can't you can't forget I don't know if you swallowed an olive or whatever. All I can do is just call 911. People drink with their meals. People drink at dinner time. People drink. So, but why are you holding that against me? I can't go out to lunch with you because you drink. What does that mean? I don't understand what that means. Let me tell you, I was going to a progressive church back home in West Palm Beach. And we went to Red Lobster after service. Or we were out for Red Lobster one evening. And the pastor and his wife was there. So while the waiter was waiting on me, I said, I don't know what I want. I'm going to have a virgin pina colada. Let me live it up tonight. I had a virgin pina colada. Do you know on Sunday, I was the topic of the sermon without him mentioning my name. He said, y'all don't have to try to hide things from us. Because if you want to order you a drink, this way to order you a drink. I said, so I stood up. We were on TV then, on TBN. I stood up. I said, "Are you?" And I'm looking at him like, "Really?" And he would never look up from the pulpit once he saw me standing. Everybody else, "Hey, man, hallelujah." All y'all drunk. All y'all are alcoholics in the front row. Don't play with that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't pretend like you holy. Don't do that. You don't let many people astray because people want to be just like you and they don't know how you live behind closed doors. Okay, I'm not trying to get off the topic here. I'm coming back. But so my students, we wouldn't go out to lunch. We couldn't even go out to dinner because y'all got a drinking issue. Y'all like to drink something other than soda and water and tea. But you held that against me. Really? Man, go ahead and get what you want to get. I don't have a heaven or a hell to put you in. So going back to, people afraid to share things about you because they're looking at your life and they're like, "No, she wouldn't understand." Now, that's a fighting word for me. I had a former cousin say that to me years ago. See, you don't understand. See, Lisa, you had a great life. You don't understand. And now she's telling me I've known her for all my life. Now she's telling me she was molested as a child. I said, "Well, you never told me that." She said, "Yeah, but you don't understand. See, you don't understand." No, so you're gonna tell me what? So those are fighting words for me when we're having a conversation like that. So you gonna tell me what I don't understand just because I didn't go through it? Really? And I don't talk to her anymore. I said, "We're done. We're done. We're done." And we were real close growing up as kids. But you're gonna tell me what I don't understand just because you're telling me something new. You haven't told anybody this. I didn't know. I counsel people like you. What? And no, and you better not try to touch me. My daddy locked both gates at 4:00 every afternoon. Come in if you want to with his double barrel shotgun. Come and mess with me if you want to. Okay? So I was very protected. I'm sorry you weren't. But you're going to blame that on me. So once again, people put you up on this pedestal and they think, "Well, I can't go and tell her this and I can't go and tell her that." Well, go find somebody you can tell it to. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to add you to the resume. But I'm more received by strangers who don't know me, who have to I had a young lady that blare their heart out to me. And we closed that thing up and got her on her way. So you don't have to worry about telling me stuff. You don't have to. People didn't want to tell me, one young lady didn't want to tell me that she was pregnant and she's not married. And I'm like, I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. I'm not here to judge you. What do you think of me? I'm not going to come to your wedding because, oh my gosh, you had a child out of wedlock? I was too afraid when boys touch me. They couldn't even touch my knee. I ain't dancing with nobody because I got here. I'm born to a teenage mom. No, you ain't going to touch me. Come on, let me hold your hand. No, don't hold my hand because I don't know how babies really get here. I don't know. It could be you could just look at me or I could share your drink and next thing you know, no, I'm not ready to have no baby. I'm not going to put my baby in for adoption. So no, that's my choice. That's my choice. But you got everybody else knew that you pregnant and I don't know nothing. I'm like, what do you think of me? And then that provokes my flesh when I have to sit and start thinking about how you think about me. That provokes my flesh. Then I get mad. And I want to delete, deny, block everybody. I'm just giving you a little piece of me tonight. Okay? So if that's your choice, and I tell my kids, if that's your choice, but be prepared for the consequences. And that's in any decision that you make. Anybody that you invite into your life. Anybody you go out of town with. Anybody, you know they ain't got a job. Who paid for the trip? Anybody that calls you need to get, I heard you gonna get a car. Well, you need to get that. Well, you don't have a car. So how do you know what kind of car I need to get? See, that's my answer. So this past few months, I got to know how people really feel about me, some close people, and it hurt. It really did hurt. And I have to resolve it because we got the prophetic word today that God is closing doors now, changing relationships, changing associations now. It's here because we got kingdom work to do. Amen. Amen. So as we segue now, we're going to start talking about finances, and that's what we were going to, begin to talk about tonight. Financial. It's hard to talk about it because you're like, financial planning during these times. That's the title of tonight. Really? And this is going to be part one. Yeah. You got to put some money away. You got to have it in the house or something. You just never know. I went to Wawa today to get me a salad, and the Lord said, no, go ahead and fill up with your gas. And I'm like, oh, okay, you're right. You're right, Lord. Fill up with the gas. Because I don't know what tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday is going to hold, what it's going to look like here. So thank goodness, you need to keep some money around. And I know that's hard because people are living paycheck to paycheck. But the world is kind of really flimsy right now. You could go get a job anywhere.
Go
ahead.
I was just told today they went to get water, which, water is scarce around here. And her son, what Walmart normally have for $5.98, he paid $9 for it. I said, isn't that price gouging? I'm like, like, really?
They need to report them. They need to report that location. No, go ahead. I'm sorry, Tommy, but yeah, they need to report them right away, because one thing DeSantis is not going to stand for is gouging. He's
Well, like I said, I didn't know. I don't know which one, but I'll find out. But that was just like ludicrous to me, that you paying $9 for what is normally $5.98, but then just like Sam's with eggs, they've been fluctuating up and down. The cheapest I've seen, wherein before the pandemic, you could get two 18 crates of eggs, two, for usually around $368 to $443. I've seen it in the last couple of times, $862 and as much as $11 and some change. And it just fluctuate back and forth, back and forth. It hasn't went past $8 in a while. And that's Sam's. Now, granted, it took them a minute to start by getting eggs. So it might have been, and at the time the gas was higher and so on and so forth. But yeah, so you're right. We got to get that jar, that envelope you keep in the freezer, whatever it takes. We have to start by saving, not just in the institution, but saving that you can put your hand onto it. As what in school, as when we took that finance class, it was saying, the term was, I can't think of it now, but it means being able to put your hand on the money right now and not have to go through an institution to get it. Y'all might know the name, Trey. You might know it, but I can't remember what it's called. Accessible assets or something like that. I can't remember the name of it right now.
Well, I'm here,
I'm not quite sure.
Go ahead, Trey. Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
No, I was just telling on Tommy, I said I wasn't quite sure what that terminology she was talking about is. No, I don't know what it is.
Well, it's important because God, and that's always been an age-old question, whether in the scriptures we were ever told by God that we need to go get a 401k and a 50, a Fortune 500 plan and all that. And we know man did that because that came from out of Rome, out of the Egyptians, that saving and then the investment piece. You bring your money to us and we'll hold on to it for you. So that all came from that. And I have done a little research on it. I mean, I did some research years ago, and I could not find a scripture that says, thou shalt save. Put your money away for hard times. There's no scripture that points to that. Investing, using proper judgment, using discernment. Your spiritual gifts when you do go invest, when you go and do things. And a lot of these past over 20 years, God has just spoken to me himself and said, invest in yourself. You got to get your books out, so go ahead and buy 500 books and you'll be ready. Then you're going to be going through the community. You put them on your website. You're going to sell them. I was like, okay. He said, no, you're investing in yourself. Invest in your daughter and her dessert. So I buy the grocery, whatever she needs for that. And God said, no, that's the seed offering that, you're investing in her, so he has to tell me. But this gentleman that's going to come and join us next week, he's awesome. He's honest. And he is a man of God. He's out. I want to say he's out in California, but he's out. Our time difference, that there's a 4 hour time difference from us. But he's at 7 o'clock our time will be 3 something his time. But he's willing to. I just did some interaction with him. He taught me. He had the grids and everything. He went back to the old insurance days and things like that. Made it very clear. And then this is the one thing I really respected him for and appreciated. He was not pushing to sell or anything. I said, I have to pray about it first. He said, you get back with me when he gets back with you. Done. Very respectful. So the Lord said you need to have him on to talk about the finances and how to and what to invest in from an insurance perspective to make sure you're not leaving anything behind on your loved ones, because we still keep running into that. People didn't leave a will, they don't have the money. Now you're trying to talk to your friends and to help to bury your loved one. So you want to go ahead and just hear him out. He's not here to sell anything or whatever. And the Lord himself said, invite him on the show. And he said, no problem. And not charging us anything. He's coming on for free. And anytime we need him. So I appreciate that. And you all will learn some things about that too. So I told him just pray and let the Lord have his way on what our audience needs to hear. But you need to know. You need to know about these things. And thank you. Yeah, the Care Support Circle is still available. I don't have nobody's contacted me, and that's fine. But just to know, that's a resource that's out here, and other resources that's out here. And we're gonna have, like I said, we're gonna have special guests periodically throughout this year, and going into the new year, so that you can hear some other voices talk about some things that are out there that's important, for us, for survival now. We're going into survival mode now. And you have got to hear and you've got to plan with what you have. With what you have. And I think I said a while back on Facebook, families are going to start coming back together, and everybody going to have to live under the same house, under the same roof, rather, because that's just the sign of the times. And if they're ready to go back out and get back out there, then you could take your time and do that. But while you're in your parents' home or while you're in your siblings' home, split the bills, pay your share, and y'all put $5 away in the jar and nobody touch it. Before you know it, you've got $20 in one day. If it's 3 or 4 of y'all, you've got to do this. Because we don't know. I can imagine. I've mentioned this many times on the show. Waking up and thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna go to the bank today because I know I got about $300 in there, and I get paid Friday, and this is Wednesday. So I'm going to go and get at least $200 because I can get gas, and I could go do lunch, and then I'll get some grocery, and I'll see what my neighbor needs as well. You go to the bank and you can only get $75 out. I can't even imagine that. But we were living through things that we never could imagine. And you have to be ready for it. Don't sit there and complain. Be action oriented. Because everybody's listening. They're watching you. What are you doing? Oh, no, I'm going to get sandbag. I got to tell my new neighbor who's not been here. He and his family just moved in. So I wanted to, and the Lord has already showed me, tell your neighbor about getting sandbags because that water is going to pile up at that front door. So as soon as I can see him, I'm going to let him know, But, we got to care for each other. All right, ladies, we got 5 minutes left. Anything that's on your heart and mind to share, go for it. I'm going to be quiet.
Well, guess that means me. I guess, I'm looking forward to the financial presentation that we have coming up next week. And also, too, things that bring on stressors. When you don't have money, you're stressed. or when you can't pay your bills, you're stressed. And that leads to a whole lot of other things. And we're approaching Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well. And maybe that could be some tips to help folks that, are frustrated with household finances, relationships, and so on. I think we're just going into a great place with this, and I'm just looking forward to what Setting It Straight with Ms. Gray has in store for the future. I think this is exciting. So
I'm agreeing with you on that, because what better way to maybe prevent a lot of the suicide or the action of violence when people can find out they could save $1, putting away $1, and making things a lot lighter and giving a new light to the new year. So, and getting ready to go through Christmas and not buying all this Christmas gifts and all this that you feel you have to do, but be modest and maybe cook your gift, cookies, or invite somebody over for a meal or some other form of action of love, but not have to be pressed that you have to spend all this money, because it's not flowing like milk and honey right now. And so we got to get into that mode to being able, like Miss Grace said, put $5 or $2 or $3 or $1 in that jar a week just to get you started. So that's my tip for this week.
Amen. Thank you, ladies. It's real and it can be done. I mean, if you're still using cash, I've told you about a former coworker back in the day taught me how she saved her initials on her dollar bills, and then she boosted that up to $5 bills, and she was able to buy herself a car, brand new car, So yeah, to this day I save my LJG dollars. And I just put them aside. Don't be coming to my house looking for nothing, because you ain't gonna find it. Yeah. But anyway, I put it, that don't go in the bank. I just put that aside, and it's fun now. It's like a little game to me now, to be able to do that. Yeah, Tommy.
It's funny you said that, because my aunt, I still have my $12. She saved $12, but it was 1 through 12. Because they don't go higher than 12. And I still have my dollars. But she also did something that was really great. She started saving every $5. Every $5 bill, she would save them. And as she saved them, she paid for her to redo her bathroom. A cabinet and all the little fixings and whatever. She was able to do that. And now she's saving her $5 bills, because that's what she's going to buy Christmas gifts with. So all that is good ways of not going through that depression and feeling that you have to do all this other stuff. That's
Amen. Well, happy Rosh Hashanah again. We're going to see you next week, a whole new month, a whole new set of topics and conversations. You all be safe. Those of us, my Floridians, be safe. Do what you got to do. Do what you have to do. We'll see you next week. Same time, same station. Y'all be blessed.
Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino online.
I was only playing for fun, so winning was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's favorite free online social casino. You too could have the chance to win life-changing cash prizes. Absolutely anybody could be like Mary. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and play for free now. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of the winner. Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino online.
I was only playing for fun, so winning was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's favorite free online social casino. You too could have the chance to win life-changing cash prizes. Absolutely anybody could be like Mary. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and play for free now. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of the winner.
Audio Jungle.
Hello, you're listening to the K-12 Tech Podcast, bringing you insights into the world of education technology. Stay tuned as we discuss the past, the present, and most importantly, the future of technology in our schools.
Hello, and welcome back to the K-12 Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Hotseller, with my co-host, Sean Cardwell from K-12 Tech. And then we have our special guest, Technology Integration Specialist, Michelle Manning, who is also a Google certified educator and a Google certified coach. Michelle, thank you for coming on. If you just want to maybe introduce yourself and kind of talk about your background.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here. I've been working in education for 30 years, and I can't believe I'm saying that. I was a classroom teacher for over 26 years in my current district, and then I transitioned to be the technology integration specialist for my district, and this is my third year as the tech coach. My first year, I worked with the 650 secondary teachers across 5 buildings. And now I work with the elementary teachers. So I support 350 teachers throughout 7 buildings. And I absolutely love my job. It's great.
So what kind of made you go into the tech integration role?
I've always loved integrating the technology into the curriculum, getting away from the chalk and talk, the pencil and paper. So it was always a passion of mine. And then when my district posted this position, a lot of my colleagues reached out to me and said, Michelle, you're already doing this. You should apply. So I was nervous leaving the classroom, but I'm actually really excited because now I get to go into more classrooms and work with more teachers. So I get the best of both worlds. So it's really been exciting, and I've learned so much, and it's such a great feeling to be so helpful to my colleagues.
And you came in like kind of middle of the pandemic, correct?
Literally, yes.
So what were some challenges you faced there? I know obviously the pandemic was a big change for all of us.
Right. Well, the biggest problem, I mean, for me as a tech coach, excuse me, was because I started when we went back that September, my district was hybrid. So students were in person and half their class were at home, and then they switched midweek. So when I started my position, I ended up being more tech support, how to do Google Meets, how to share your screen, how to do videos, because those are things we had never done before. We were completely asynchronous when we went into lockdown at first. So teachers really saw me as tech support, and that's what they needed. So I was whatever they needed, whenever they needed it. And Google was constantly changing and updating. So I was always sending out the alerts. Well, now Meet can do this. Now Meet gives you attendance. And so I presented myself as more tech support. It wasn't until much later in the year where teachers said to me, well, I used to do this lesson where the students were walking around the room, but now they can't. Or my students used to manipulate this, but now they can't. So how can we create these lessons digitally? So it took a while to make the transition. And I'm still struggling with that, where I'm not necessarily tech support. You know, you bring me the curriculum, I'll bring you the technology, and let's work it out together. Let me come in and co-teach. Let me be part of the lesson with you, not just tech support. So because that's when I started. That's how people saw me since it was a new role. So I'm starting to see the shift. I'm hopeful.
But kind of now that we're out of the pandemic, Lord willing, has there been any not any drawback or any hesitancy for teachers that weren't used to technology, had to use it? Are they trying to get away from it? And how are you facing that?
Yeah, unfortunately, because the teachers were forced to use it and it was more survival mode, they aren't really seeing the benefits of what it could have to offer now. They want to go old school. They're kind of done with the technology. I was very fortunate. I attended ISTE in New Orleans this past July, and Rich Collada gave this great speech about shifting from that emergency remote learning to effective digital learning. So shifting from tech skills to digital pedagogy. So many people, the kids are good at tech, they're good at tech. I'm like, well, it's not really about the students being good at tech or gaming. It's about transforming your lessons, freeing you up so that you could work with students in small group, providing those modifications, differentiating your assignments. There's so many great things that came out of this push with the technology. So let's embrace those to make our curriculum and our classrooms better and provide more support for our students as well.
Well, and it does seem like a lot of schools have been utilizing Google Classroom, every Google app you can possibly imagine out there. But I know just from talking to you before we started recording that you've been utilizing Gamify, which is something that I am not familiar with. So do you want to talk about a little bit about that and what exactly it does and what you use it for and how teachers can use it in their classroom?
Absolutely. And my district is a Google school. Google Classroom is our LMS. But what I did to sort of break up the lessons, and again, transitioning from pencil and paper and using that technology to make the lessons better. So pre-pandemic, pre-Google Slides, you would hand out a worksheet, whether it was a review sheet, say for a test or a quiz, or students are practicing their times tables. There was this great expression, practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. So old school, students would complete that entire worksheet and they may have practiced the whole thing wrong. And then by the time the teacher collects it, grades it, and gives it back, and here's hoping that the student actually looks at the feedback that the teacher dedicated his or her time to give, that doesn't happen. It goes in the folder. Or my favorite was when the one student threw it out in the garbage right in front of me. I'm like, could you at least get to the hallway garbage can before throwing that out? So the students aren't getting that immediate feedback. So what I did was I took those multiple choice questions and put them in Google Slides. And I've created dozens of them, and I'm happy to share the link with my templates and some samples that I've done. So whether it was seasonal or content related, I would decorate the Google Slides with the theme, and then the students would answer the question. And I started calling them escape rooms, but then I changed it to riddle rooms. So on the first slide, I would ask them a riddle, and as they got the right answer, they would be directed to the slide that gave them the next letter for the riddle. But here's the part that I loved about gamifying that I thought was so helpful, that when they got the answer incorrect, it brought them to a slide that told them they were wrong. So they got that immediate feedback so that they weren't practicing it wrong again and again. And then they were directed to go back and try again. And on that, I hate to say you're wrong, but on the you're wrong slide, the teacher could embed support, give them a clue. So if it's long division, remind them what the first step of long division is. Or if it's world languages, put the translations there. I just did one for map skills. So put the map so they can look at the reference, because the goal is for them to learn the content. And if they keep getting it wrong, they're not learning anything. So this way the support is embedded. Students could work at their own pace. If the teacher's going over it as a whole class, students can fall behind, or if they get up to use the restroom. So now students can self-pace if they need to read the question more slowly, or again, embedding that support. Teachers can embed audio to read it to the students who maybe are struggling. So you can take out the reading obstacles, take out the writing obstacles so that they can focus on the content, assuming it's not a reading or writing lesson. So there's just so many opportunities for the students to succeed and all the embedded support. And you can differentiate. If you have students who are ready to add fractions with uncommon denominators, they can get that riddle room. And the students who still need common denominators can get that one, and then work their way up. And this way the teacher can be working with different groups at the same time instead of whole class. And I can go on for hours about all the different advantages to gamifying. And then one final advantage to it is if you gave your students their traditional pencil and paper, when they're done, they're done. They're not going to take their eraser and erase the whole page and try it again. So with these riddle rooms, the teacher can post it through their LMS, and then the students, when they're home or extra help, can go back and try it again. So if they didn't succeed, it's still there as an opportunity and a learning tool for them.
So this isn't an app or anything. This is all just through Google completely.
It's all hyperlinks. And sometimes I do bring in Kami. I absolutely love Kami. So I have done some lessons where the question will be hyperlinked to a Kami file. So the students can annotate and work on a PDF. So say they're working on map scale. They can go to the map on Kami and measure it or draw it. Or if for more of accountability, unfortunately, the downside with the gamification is there isn't a lot of accountability. The teacher cannot see the student's progress. So by hyperlinking it to a Kami file or a Google Doc, the students can show their work and toggle back and forth between the two. But a basic escape room is just simply hyperlinking 3 pages together. So it's resources that every teacher has available.
It is readily available.
Yeah.
There's no extra cost.
Right.
But schools that are on a very tight budget to large schools that may have more funding, anyone can use it.
Right.
I think that's the big thing that that I really like, and I think a lot of schools are going to like.
Right, and everybody has access to the Google Slides, and once you make your one template, you could just keep changing your backgrounds, and you have it set. So it's not recreating the wheel every single time. And once you do it once with the students and they're familiar with it, they're always so excited to see the different themes. I've gone throughout the year, football season, fall, Thanksgiving. I try to keep it non-denomination. Do you want to build a snowman? So instead of a riddle, they built the snowman. As they got the right answers, the snowman was built, and then they could draw it on their own. So they had their own snowman. So there's lots of different ways you can change it up. And I had referenced using it as review, but a teacher could also use it to flip their classroom. So instead of putting the question, the teacher can embed a video, whether it's a video that the teacher recorded of themselves modeling the lesson, or a YouTube video, or a curriculum related video, and then the students can watch it and then practice it on their own and advance through the lesson at their level. So it takes the teacher away from the board. They're not tied to the front of the room. So the teacher can circulate and work in small groups or differentiate, or this is a great activity for centers or stations. Sometimes they've even embedded links to websites so the students are doing research. So are they doing the research correctly? So there's so many ways that you could modify this, from introducing a lesson to assessing the lesson.
Like we said, it sounds extremely versatile. Everyone's got access to it. Kind of to hint at an earlier statement you made with the whole get a worksheet back, erasing it, or not even looking at it. I'm guilty of that. I get it back. I put it in my folder, not paid any more attention. What I really like about this is it's readily available for not just the teachers, but the students as well. They can access it. Most schools have Chromebooks or iPads or some kind of equipment nowadays, one-to-one device. They can always access it at home, work on it at their own pace. I know that was a big thing for me when I was in school. I had a lot of classes that were kind of a work at your own pace. And it really wasn't much accountability, kind of like you were saying, on the teacher wasn't really able to see how far I was doing, besides just when I took exams. And for me, that worked. I like being accountable for my own grades rather than if you fall behind, you fall behind. That's the big difference there. So I really do think this is truly a great idea. and it's
And
very
then
creative as well.
Before they get too far along, sometimes it could take teachers days to return their work, and now you're 3 more lessons into the content, and now they're 3 days behind, where day 1, hopefully that student is reflecting and, gosh, I'm getting a lot of these wrong. Hopefully they'll go to extra help, and they'll reflect on that and take some more ownership of their education and be accountable to themselves too before it gets too late.
Yeah, and extra help, like you were saying, I mean, with pen and paper, that was coming in early in the morning or staying late after school. It had to work with the student schedule, but also the teachers. With this, you can have video links. If they get an answer wrong, it takes them to a video. Hey, here's how you do it. Sure, it could have taken the teacher a little bit of time to make that video, or most of the stuff's on YouTube nowadays. They can just find a video, put it there, and just call it a day.
Once. If you're a secondary teacher, you're often teaching the same class 3, 4, 5 times a day. So instead of repeating yourself 3, 4, 5 times a day, just take your prep period and record it once, and then the students can watch it, and then that frees you up from repeating yourself, so you can provide that individualized support walking around the room. And of course, not every day. There is a place for pen and paper, don't get me wrong, and there is a time for whole class discussions and teacher directed lessons, but this is a nice alternative, another opportunity.
It doesn't need to be the sole way you teach your class either. You can mix it in with the board to the students. You could do days where this is what you're doing. I saw you mention flipped classroom. That's a term I heard a lot when I was in school, and I've heard a lot on this podcast. So maybe kind of go into how would somebody use this to do that flipped classroom model?
So instead of the teacher presenting the lesson 5 times, the teacher could record themselves doing the introduction or explaining the content. And what's nice too is you can then chunk it up. So instead of teaching your 20, 30, 40-minute lesson where the students are taking notes and trying to keep up, you can chunk it into smaller pieces. And the nice opportunity for that is, again, if a student is struggling to pay attention, or a student is in the back of the room and there are distractions, they can't hear, they can't see, having the introduction lesson on the Chromebook in front of them, or their device in front of them with headphones, they can rewind it if they couldn't hear what the teacher said. A lot of children are embarrassed to raise their hand and ask a question. I remember in 11th grade, I asked a sincere question and the whole class busted out laughing, and 35 years later, I still don't know why they laughed. So, and I never raised my hand again. So this provides a nice opportunity for students to, again, I know we keep saying get that support, but if they're embarrassed to raise their hand and ask a question, they don't have to. They can rewind the video, if they were distracted. So the teacher, instead of doing the whole class instruction, would record it and put it in the game. And then if the student got the answer right, can proceed to the next step, watch the next video, and move along at their pace. And again, since the teacher's now not tied to the board, doing that instruction, or flipping it where it's their homework to watch the video, and it's their homework to just answer the questions. And then when they come in the next day, it's practice. So the teacher is assessing and monitoring their understanding. So instead of doing the practice at home with no support, do the practice in school when you have the teacher support.
Let's just say a teacher used this for a homework assignment and sends the kid home with the assignment to do the game or build a snowman, whatever it is. Is there a way to make sure they're actually doing it? Because I thought you said something about like it's hard to monitor what they're actually doing within the game.
Right. And they could always just ask their friend or Google the answer to the riddle. So a lot of times what I did was hyperlinked a Google form. So as the students were going, they were answering the correct answer in the Google form. So this way they're not just clicking. They have to see what the right answer is and then answer the correct answer on the Google form. And then the teacher would have the students' responses on the Google form. or again, linking Kami or Google Docs so that they could see the students' work, whether it's math skills or math where they have to show all their work, having those hyperlinks embedded to outside programs, Google Docs, which is also part of the Google for Education, so they don't have to have that separate program. So there are ways that you could have that accountability piece. So they're not just clicking through the game. And you hopefully explain to the students this is here to help you, and you're only shortchanging yourself. But we all know, and we have bad days too. I don't feel like doing it today, so we go through it.
I know college, that's a big thing. I mean, you're paying to be there, so
right.
Most of my professors were, if you don't want to show up or you don't want to do the work, I'm getting paid. That's on you. So,
right.
I mean, it really, that's kind of how a lot of my teachers in high school were too. With some of my advanced classes, especially that were for college credit, they treated it like that. And so if I didn't do my work, they obviously they were more happy, but
right.
they didn't make a huge deal out of it because it was on me.
Intrinsic motivation. This is going to help you. This is a resource that you have if you want to do well. And the thing, but the gamifying, it's fun. So they are more likely to do it as opposed to a worksheet. And also too, if they look at this huge worksheet with 25 or 30 long division problems, that's overwhelming. That's intimidating, especially to a student who is struggling. And if they're struggling to get through number one, and now they're looking at the rest of the page, they're not going to be motivated. They're going to shut down. So gamifying paces them, chunks it one at a time. Here's one question, just focus on this. Don't worry about all the other questions. So hopefully that will motivate them. And the students were excited. Can you make a riddle room for this? Can you make a riddle room for that? So it motivated them to complete the activity authentically because they wanted to know the answer to the riddle. Or I did one for ecosystem. I'm sorry, not ecosystems, energy. So they did one for coal, one for biomass. And because the coal one, I connected it to Minecraft. Now, I never played Minecraft. My children are older, so I had to do a lot of research, and I was texting my 23-year-old son, what do you know about Minecraft? So that I could create this. And the teacher said as soon as the students opened it and as soon as they saw the background, oh, it's Minecraft, and they were so excited. So that's the other advantage to gamification. They're excited. And it's thematic, and they don't realize that they know it's the same lesson, but it's not the same lesson. But it is the same lesson.
I'm a big believer in hands-on interactive learning. It's how I learn best. And I think this is definitely a good way to, like we've been saying, implement that into the classroom. Students are excited because you can tie it. You can use whatever GIF, whatever you want to call it. You can put whatever you want that you think is going to draw the students' attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if they're focused and having fun, they're more likely to retain that information.
Right. Absolutely. And you could even turn it around a little bit. When I was in the classroom, when I would be reviewing, I would assign the students a review sheet for homework or the day before a test. Pencil and paper, it's been pre-pandemic, before we had one-on-one devices. And then I would go over the review sheet, and I wasn't sure that the students were checking their answers. Are they making sure they have the right answers on their worksheet to go home and study? So I'm a big football fan, and not just because of my last name, Manning. I've been a Giants fan my whole life. So I created this activity in the classroom where I actually put some of the wrong answers on the board, and I made red flags for all my students, and I wore a referee jersey. They could wear their football jerseys. And so when they saw me put the wrong answer on the board, they could challenge it and throw the red flag. So I made one of those I gamified it. I put the wrong answers so they could challenge it, and it was interactive. So the football one, the objective is to move the referee along and the yard markers, all the way down from end zone to end zone. So changing it up, giving that challenge. I've also made ones that were carnival themed. So they're playing skee ball or musical chairs to make it fun.
And like you were saying with wearing the referee, to gamify a lesson, it doesn't have to be through Google Slides. You can do it. You can do it with that pencil paper. You're in front of the class with the board. As long as you're making it fun and making it interactive for the students, you're achieving the same result ultimately.
They were paying attention. Nothing is more exciting than catching your teacher making a mistake. So, and they loved to throw things at me. I told them, if you hit me, you're losing 5 points on your test. Okay. So like, you throw the flag to the ground, don't throw it at the teacher. Just to change it up a little bit. I used to, when I taught social studies, Gilgamesh, he built a wall. So I bought a Jenga game and I wrote questions on the Jenga pieces. So they would push out the Jenga pieces to answer the questions, and it resembled the brick wall that Gilgamesh had made. But during the pandemic, they couldn't touch Jenga pieces. So I made a digital Jenga to interactive. But then you also have the two opportunities. It's nice to provide students with the options. I don't want to get into blended learning too much, but some students love the pencil and paper or the physical Jenga. Some students love the digital. If they have visual issues or if they have reading, writing obstacles, we can use the technology to remove that obstacle, because the end game, not to get, no pun intended, the end game is to learn the content. So you have all these different resources that are available now. So let's not shy away from that technology that overwhelmed us during the pandemic. Let's take what was good from it and provide more opportunities for our students to succeed. And that's what I love about my job, is creating those opportunities for the teachers, because they're so overwhelmed. They don't have time to create it digitally. So they'll send me their worksheet, and I love to sit and create the digital lessons for them. So that's my goal for this year, is to get into more classrooms and do more of the co-teaching, or sit at one of their centers to integrate the technology, because it's a lot. Teachers don't have the time for that. So that's what I'm here for.
Kind of continuing in that direction, I guess that's more on the IT side. And so that's kind of where I wanted to go next, was as a tech integration person or a technology director, how do you, obviously you just kind of mentioned it, but how would that position assist the teachers with this gamification and using technology to help supplement their lessons?
The way I organized it last year was every Monday I sent out a Google form to the teachers and they could sign up. And I had the questions, whether it was content-based or tool-based. Do you want to learn the tool, or do you want to, listen, I have this lesson, I don't know what to do with it. And then I would meet with the teacher either via Google Meet or in person. So what I'm using this year is the new calendar update. So I just share my calendar and with the new appointment slots. So they just pick a time and they let me know whether I'm going to go into the classroom or we're going to do a Google Meet. They could also attach to the Google form the lesson that they're working on. So basically, because I support 7 buildings, I can't be in every building every day or even in a week. And my office is actually in an 8th building. So I missed out on that walking through the hallway. Hey, Michelle, can you help me with this? So I really have to cast a wide net. So in addition to sending out my calendar and hoping they'll sign up, I also have a Google Classroom that all of the teachers are in. So as I make these templates, I post them in the Google Classroom. So hopefully it'll plant some seeds. So either teachers can take that template and input the content because it's already done, or if the teachers aren't at that level with the technology, they can send me the content and I'll create it for them. So whatever level, whatever comfort level they're at, or even their time frame, they know the technology, they just don't have the time. I'm available for all the different levels of support, whatever they need. So I try to be very versatile in what they need and how they need it, and more are starting to come to me with the content, and that's my goal.
I can see other schools implementing that as well. Obviously, I don't know how large your district is or how large your tech staff is, anything like that. But obviously, if it's, just you, that could put a lot of time on your plate. Other districts have multiple people they could assign to, maybe even they're the person that does that. So there's all different ways that you can implement this and, help your staff, because that's the goal for everyone that works in education, whether it is on the tech side or the actual education side, is we're here for the students. We want to make sure they're succeeding as much as they can, whatever tools they need and whatever we can do on our end to help them. So.
Right.
We've kind of talked about how you're helping your teachers and just your educators in general with this gamification. What are some pieces of advice you would have for people that are kind of in the similar role, or maybe you just want to start gamifying their lessons?
Well, twofold question. As far as a tech coach, my advice to them would be make those personal connections, find the people that you know. So I noticed that the big turning point for me last year was when one of our STEM coaches reached out to me and she said, Michelle, we have this lesson and it's just so boring. The students watch a video and they take notes. Can you make this fun? So I said, oh, okay, no pressure. So I created, that was actually the goal, the cold lesson that I had mentioned earlier. And it taught the students how to do research. It was just, the students had so much fun with it. But that got me into one classroom. So because I worked with the STEM coach 28 years ago, we did staff development together 28 years ago in our beginning of our careers together. Then our careers went different paths, but then they came back together. So that relationship with her created this lesson. Then she got me into one classroom. And then the other teachers were like, wow, that's really great. Will you come into my classroom? And then I sent it to the STEM coach in the other building. And it was that beautiful ripple effect, that pebble in the pond. So finding those relationships. So then when I started to seeing how it was my personal relationships that really turnkey my role as an ed tech coach, I reached out to my colleagues that I started with. One of my bridesmaids from, a long time ago, I reached out to her. I said, hey, Janet, let's get together again. We used to teach next door to each other. And again, our paths went different directions. Like, let's come back together. Let's co-teach. So, and they invited me into their rooms. And then their colleagues on their grade levels saw. So my advice to the ed tech coaches is find those relationships and really work those relationships. As far as teachers that are interested in gamifying, I absolutely more than welcome to share the links to my templates and my resources. So starting small with some of maybe using one of the ones that are already done, and then using one of the templates, and then from there trying to create your own. So baby steps, what you are ready for when you're ready for it. Because if you're overwhelmed, it won't work.
There's a lot of different apps, right, and different programs people can use for learning. And I know from being in the education side of things myself for a handful of years, going to different conferences, a lot of times when they talk about different apps and programs like this, it almost seems like it's very much geared towards younger grades, maybe up through sometime in middle school. And coming from a high school, things like building a snowman, like I couldn't imagine senior in honors bios wanting to building a snowman. And it's right. So do you see Gamify and some of the other things you and your teachers have used to be able to move into that high school kind of world? Because I feel like high school does end up back with like the paper and pencil and tests and get ready for the SATs and the ACTs. Right. That's kind of where you're at.
Right. I've actually had high school teachers use my templates. I actually, one world language teacher had her observation coming up, and she created a riddle room for her students. The whole thing was in Italian, which was fun for me trying to create because I had no idea what the right answers were, what the wrong answers were. And I told them, like, make sure the hyperlinks are correct because I had no idea what I was reading. And so it actually took them through traveling. The unit was traveling. So they started at the airport and then they worked through checking their luggage and security and takeoff. And it worked through the whole process of what the unit was. I've done lessons for family consumer science where they're practicing interview skills. I did a whole Office themed. So obviously Office, the TV show, is not geared for younger children. So I just changed the background to the Office characters. So Michael Scott was interviewing people. Can he ask this question, yes or no? And so I had the GIFs where the office staff was yay, or the office, Michael's going, no, no, no. So if you pull in on the content that they're interested in, that they're familiar with, again, I feel my age making these because I'm so out of what's cool, and even saying cool isn't cool anymore, but you know what I mean, what they're interested in. So I have had high school teachers use these, and sometimes high school kids like a break too. They like to think they're so old and mature, but they actually have fun with some of these.
Even now as an adult, looking at 24-page documents just on paper is not fun, and it still burns me out. So I'm sure even in high school, I mean, for me, so I'm 22, so I was in high school, 4 years ago.
My children are older than you. Go ahead.
And so with that, when I was in my freshman year was when my school district first got Chromebooks. And I was actually one of 2 testing classes that got them. And so I really was in that, transition period where teachers had no idea how to use these things. The students didn't know how to use them. And so seeing so for me, it was kind of opposite, where I was in high school, we just got the technology. And so that's what we were using because it was new shiny thing. They wanted us to use it. Versus, students nowadays, they've had Chromebooks, a lot of them, majority of their entire school career at this point. And so going back to that pen and paper, it can just be, completely different, and switching between the two, I'm sure, is not good either. So
put the ownership on the student. Give the students the template, the blank riddle room, and have them enter the questions and the answers. Let them learn the hyperlinking. So again, it's not just playing the game. Let them learn those technology skills. Students, yes, they know how to play video games. They know the technology on their iPhone, but do they know how to use basic Google Docs and Google Slides? So you can take it to another level where they're not building the snowman. I had created that because it took the language and the riddle out of for the younger children who don't understand what a riddle is or don't understand the letters. They can't read the word that they just spelled out with the riddle room. So that's why I did the snowman. But for high school students, instead of building the snowman, let them build the riddle room. Let them do the research. Let them come up with the questions and the answers, so that they're building it and also learning the tech skills as well. So you can modify it in so many different ways.
The accountability aspect of, can you track if the student's actually doing the work? Well, if you make them make the lesson, there you go. So
they can trade, do their groups and so on. And so then there's also the review. So there are definitely ways that you can modify this up or down.
Yeah, I mean, if the student makes it, you can have, you can do groups, they can make it, and then they pass it on to a different group to actually play through it.
Right.
As, like you said, as a review, and that way they're all working together. That's the big thing. So.
Right. And if the student was absent, say I'm thinking like chemistry, if a teacher had done an experiment, the student was absent and missed the experiment, if the teacher had recorded that lesson and now you can embed it into the videos or into the games, the students can see it without the teacher having to recreate the whole experiment or activity for the students to complete.
But I think a big piece of advice that I would even have, and it isn't just for this, but just don't be afraid to fail, or you'll make one that doesn't catch the interest of the students. Don't stop doing it. You're going to learn. We're all lifelong learners, so you'll learn what works and what doesn't. I'm sure you've had lessons that students you put time into, you made, and students just weren't interested in that.
Right.
Everyone's different, so I mean, every student's going to have different preferences, and I'm sure you've learned throughout your time doing this that what works and what doesn't. So,
and I think that's also another reason why it's so important to bring in that technology and not push it aside. is because what works for one student doesn't necessarily work for another student. So giving them the choices and the different experiences. And again, you're not going to gamify every single day, but yesterday was the pencil and paper and today is the gamify. So you're again casting that wide net to reach all of your different students.
Well, and you mentioned chemistry and experiments and taping things and filming it or whatever. And I taught chemistry for a few years.
I didn't know that.
It's definitely better to fail at making a gamify than it is to fail at making a chemistry experiment go bad.
Right. We'll record this successful experiment so that way they can learn from that.
It's a lot safer that way.
Yes.
Obviously, you've been doing this for a while. Do you present at all besides obviously you're on our podcast? So there's that, but do you do any presentations, have any YouTube videos that maybe other ed tech coaches, tech directors, teachers can look at that, are public that they can use as a resource?
I do. I'm just building my social media profile now. So I do have a YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram. I'm just starting on TikTok. I kind of feel too old to be on TikTok, but I'm learning. But my handle for all social media outlets is @Manning Tech Talk. So I'm slowly starting to post videos there and different resources, but I was very excited. I did present at ISTE. I'll be presenting at NICE-Gate, which is New York State, later in the year. I'll be presenting at Lights, which is Long Island, in October. And I do all presentations for the district where I teach. That's a big part of my job is the PD. So presenting at faculty meetings, superintendent's conference day, small group instruction, one-on-one instruction, morning coffee clutches, however I can get to them. So I do a lot of presentations, but as far as the general public outside of my district, I am starting to branch out on some of the social media sites.
Be sure to follow. We'll make sure to link all of her social medias as well. We appreciate everyone listening today. And Michelle, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.